Friend. Friend? Ah! Friend. Ah! Friend. Ah! Today we're talking about both of these movies, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. That's an overview of what basically both of those movies are. It's like friend, hiss. Friend, hiss. My name is Matt and I have 2 degrees, and welcome to the final week of the Universal Classic Monsters Movie Marathon. I already said my name's Matt. So this is the 4th and final week of the Universal Monster Movie Marathon, and like we only watched half of the movies. Granted, we watched most of the most iconic ones. So Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and Dracula, but we also threw in some obscure picks as well, like The Silent Hunchback for some reason, as well as, Invisible Man. I love Invisible Man. I maintain Invisible Man is the most underrated film in the lineup, and I feel like one of the strongest films overall, but that was a discussion for last week. Tonight, we're doing a double feature, a science fiction double feature, some might say, Rocky Horror Picture Show reference. So yeah, Frankenstein as well as Bride of Frankenstein. These movies, one of them I think is absolutely incredible, and the other one I think is a waste of everyone's time to watch, to have made lots of things. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Let's see who we have here in the chat joining us today. We have my cat Eliza. Hello, Eliza. Happy Monster Movie Marathon to you as well. We have Sabrina. Oh my gosh, Sabrina. She's a black cat. I didn't realize she has a cute little black cat icon photo now. That's so cute. My mom Martha is here. Hello, hello. And then only time will tell. Vince says the opening sequence with the puppets is better than both Frankensteins put together. How? Wow. Well, I will half agree. Yeah. Fun thing, like now rewatching Bride of Frankenstein, the bride herself, she reminds me so much of Sabrina, my cat, my kitten, because she's so like delicate and graceful, but at the same time, she'll just look at you and hiss really violently, as if to say, I'm both scared, but also I'm trying to scare you. So I think for that reason alone, Bride of Frankenstein is even more so one of my favorites because it reminds me of my little Sabrina. But anyway, let's bring in our first guest for this evening. It's Frank himself. Look at that. Wow. Our friend. It's Lisa, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I just wanted to show off my cool edition of Frankenstein.
Is that actually the novel Frankenstein?
Yeah, this is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but like, look how cool this cover is.
I never would have thought that they would brand the movie with the novel. They're such different things.
Oh, I know. It's really cool. I haven't fully read it. I'm in the beginning, so yeah.
I was about to ask, have you read it, or how familiar are you with real Frankenstein and not the bastardization that this movie is?
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Whoa. We're gonna backtrack. I've never read Frankenstein. I only know of it from people talking about it. And I think I watched the original Frankenstein like a long time ago, but it was a pleasure rewatching it now. So
nice. No, I'm excited to talk about it. I'm just excited to get into it. In the waiting room, I can see Alex is enthusiastic that you seem to be on the same wavelength as him.
Oh, so, I can't wait to chat.
Right? But I think is this the first time we've had you for the Monster Marathon?
Yes. I missed y'all.
We've missed you too. So this is a question that we've kind of circled around for each one. I'll just ask you to open. What is a monster for Lisa? Like that's kind of become a through line. Like what constitutes a monster? Because a lot of the characters towards the beginning of this and even throughout, it's been like they're not that monstrous, but like what is a monster?
I think a monster is something or someone that is feared by the majority of a group. And because I love Frankenstein as a monster, and I don't see him as a monster. It's so sad to me that people are like, oh, he's a monster. But like, I think the whole device of a monster is that people find them terrifying. And that can be anybody. That can be a person. That can be the sweet little animal that people are just afraid of. But yeah, I don't know. I usually like my monsters with green skin. So
yeah. So Frankenstein's monster and Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes, I love Elphaba. Elphaba is an excellent monster, but she ain't a monster.
She ain't. Well, my mind, Elphaba is different from Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch. Like I know technically the same, but like I feel like different canons, kind of, although debatable.
I would say the Wicked Witch of the West is the stereotypical version of what people would see Elphaba as.
Right.
But Wicked Elphaba is her, like, the whole story. Like, you get she's not a stereotype. She is a complex witch, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. No, we love witches. We love witches on this
We love
channel.
witches.
I started doing a bunch of research on witches for a video that I want to like write, fully film, and get uploaded on the channel before I go on vacation next week. I don't know if it'll happen, but I like did a deep dive into the Salem witch trials and everything surrounding that and all the history surrounding that. And I'm in a witch phase right now where I'm like,
Oh,
give me all the info, teach me all the things.
I love witches. I love witches
Yes.
so much. Okay, this is a silly little thing.
Yeah.
But every time when I go out for brunch and the waitress asks, like, oh, like, what do you want as your bread? A whole wheat, white? I'm always like, rye. Because of the whole thing about how in Salem,
How that
the
started
rye
the
bread
hallucinations.
poisoned them.
Yes.
I don't want to be poisoned by my rye bread, but like,
Right.
it's just like a act of solidarity. I don't know why.
I'm so happy that I knew what you were getting at when you said rye bread, because #research, and also justice for Tituba, because
Justice for Tituba. Yes.
justice for Tituba. I want to play about just Tituba. Like
Me
that's
too.
mostly what my rabbit hole was Tituba, and like the Crucible, the depiction there is fine, and like it's a great role I feel for an actor, but I think Tituba deserves her own thing. She deserves her own play. So yeah, justice for Tituba. Let's bring in Alex. Alex, do you care about Tituba?
No. Hey, Lisa.
Okay.
Hey,
No, I really enjoyed watching The Crucible at Stratford a couple of years back. But I don't remember Tituba as a role.
She is like the only Black woman in there.
Yeah. She's the servant of the Paris household that they put on trial, and she's the first one that's convicted of witchcraft. And then I can't remember how much of this is in The Crucible versus in real life, but then she starts becoming like the key witness, and she points fingers at a lot of people.
Yeah.
She's a servant. She's the help for like the main family.
Yeah.
Okay. For like the guy with because it's the daughters who get accused first, right?
In The Crucible, it might be. I can't remember. I need to rewatch The Crucible. I love The Crucible. I see it.
Anyway, I just remember enjoying it. So cool. So, and then and why would we want a Tituba centric story? What would the virtue of that be?
Information historically about Tituba, and a lot of what seems to be historically accurate is counter in some ways to what Arthur Miller put in The Crucible, because she was probably an indigenous woman as opposed to an African or an African American woman. So she was likely from the Arawak tribe, I think, in Venezuela, or what's Venezuela now. And then she was kidnapped from there and taken to Barbados, where she was sold to religious figure Paris. And then he brought her to Salem, Massachusetts. And then she was telling the girls that she was like living in the household with about voodoo and other witchcraft related things from Barbados. And then that kind of raised some red flags for the family. But then those girls went off in the woods and did their own like New England brand witchcraft just for fun. They were like, who are we going to marry? Let's crack this egg into this glass of water and see what it says. And then they started like convulsing and having freakouts, and then they started pointing fingers. They were like, well, Tituba was talking about witchcraft, it must be her fault, and let's not let the little teenagers take accountability for what they're doing here. But anyway, then Tituba became the star witness, and she was the first person that actually on the stand admitted to engaging in witchcraft. And she was telling all these stories, well, presumably stories, because I very highly doubt that these things happened, about how the devil came to her and how she signed the devil's book. And she was like, the devil told me to do this, this, and this, and now I'm accusing these people of talking with the devil. So she, instead of denying it, kind of leaned really heavily into it as a tool to ensure her own survival, because she knew that if she gave them the information that they wanted, they would keep her alive so that she could give them more information. And in the end of it, she was like one of the only people accused that actually survived the trials. She was in prison for about 1.5 years, and then she lived, but no one knows what happened to her after. So that's also a bunch of question marks. So anyway, I think she's interesting, and
fascinating. She is a fascinating person. Yeah.
That is intriguing, that especially that whole little, because you wouldn't expect somebody leaning hard into voodoo and witchcraft or witchcraft adjacent.
Oh no, and see that's the other thing that's
content
interesting is that what she was saying was all European centric witchcraft stuff and not the stuff that she would have known or learned in Barbados. So it was very much her presumably like putting on a show for them, telling them what they wanted to hear. As opposed to like if she was actually engaging in witchcraft from where she was raised in Barbados, it would be very different from like, what she said.
Very
Anyway,
that is intriguing.
yeah, justice for Tituba. We love her.
Yeah.
Anyway,
could be like a con, could be like Catch Me If You Can, Tituba edition.
I saw little Frankie popping up there. Hold on. I got one too. Oh wait, is that Herman?
I found out ours are different. I don't know. I think it's
yours are different.
Yeah, it is. It's closer.
I think that's
closer
Herman
to
Munster.
Herman Munster.
I mean, it's got the scar. It's got the bolt. It looks
no. It
exactly
says Universal
like
Monsters.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Universal Monsters.
Yeah,
This is. I think this is the old Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's the black and white one.
Well, the original one, he was also green and he had his hands out. This is a special edition with a flower. I want to know which.
Ain't no green.
What year? What year is on his foot?
No, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I can't hear you. Looks like you're
Oh, no.
Uncle Louie.
We heard you a second ago.
Yeah, and something happened.
Oh no, what happened?
You jostle your mic.
She Ursula. Well, the mic is off. Hold on. Unmute mic. You can't unmute your guest. The mic, their mic isn't connected.
Well, now now Jeanette's mic looks like it's muted.
Yeah,
now,
Jeanette, your mic isn't. I tried to unmute Jeanette's mic. It was like, no,
and then you reverse psychology it.
Yeah.
And trying to unmute the already unmuted mic. You
All right, you hear?
Okay, there.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay. Yeah. So, what year's on his foot?
2015.
Oh, so that's like close to OG. Nice.
Close to OG. That's the best I can ever hope for.
Yep. Well, yeah, they probably started in like 2011, 2012, but no one really cared about them until 18, 19. But anyway, yeah, that's like he's probably worth a lot.
Well
I hope so. Oh, there we go.
Don't we all?
Jeanette, is your hair especially bright since we last saw you?
It is. Yes.
All right.
I'm an orange head now.
Okay. You're doing Lilu Lilu from Fifth Element.
That's the best compliment you could have ever given me in my entire life. And
Is that the opera alien?
Brownie point forever.
That's not the opera alien, Matt.
I saw it once.
No.
I don't remember much.
That would be a compliment too, but no, that's not my gig. Yeah, no, I'll take that and run with it. Yeah.
Delightful.
Cool.
So, Alex, Jeanette, I've discussed with both of you what is a monster. So for your opening question, favorite Frankenstein movie version iteration.
I think my favorite is probably the one in Penny Dreadful.
Ooh.
I like him a lot. I think he's kind of a mixture of the Hunchback and Frankenstein because he's got a little bit of both stories. But anyway, yeah, I like him. I like that for. Oh no, it's not Penny Dreadful. That one's Penny Dreadful. But Salem, y'all were talking about Tituba. Yeah. The TV show Salem had a really great Tituba. I like.
Is Tituba in the? Is there a TV show Salem first off, and there's a Tituba in it?
Yes, it's a fabulous show.
I need to watch all of these things. That sounds great. I love it. I love it. Alex coming in swinging with the great sci-fi references. Yes, well done. Yes. Well done, Alex. Well done, Alex. Alex, favorite Frankenstein?
Favorite, well, probably version would just be the one that I endlessly bring up, or we endlessly bring up the London National Theatre's production.
Johnny Lee Miller, Benedict
Cumberbatch. Specifically, Benedict Cumberbatch in the role of the monster, and Johnny Lee Miller in the role of Frankenstein.
That's the second best version of that production.
The best version of that.
It's the second best. It's better when Benedict is the doctor and Johnny is the creeper.
No.
It is though, but yeah.
No. Yeah. Otherwise, I used to dress up as Frankenstein as the monster for Halloween. So
good job.
Me.
So you, good answer.
I'm the best version.
There you go.
Yeah, that you are, Alex. Well done. Well done. I think my favorite is Catalyst Theater in Edmonton did an amazing production of Frankenstein probably 12-ish years ago. That toured, and I saw it in Toronto. And then I subsequently saw their other productions in Edmonton. They were hit and miss. Some of them were like the greatest theater I've seen. Others were the opposite of that. But Frankenstein was like top tier. It was incredible. I can't even really describe what was so good about it. It just seemed to be a very true to the source material adaptation, but just the way that Catalyst does things. There's a beautiful aesthetic. Everything was made out of paper, so the sets, the costumes were all layered white paper, and then the lighting that they used like colored it in certain ways, which was really gorgeous. And then the music that they wrote for it was chilling and incredible. So yeah, Catalyst
Can
Theater.
I might change mine. Or do we think maybe Edward Scissorhands is Frankenstein story?
Direct. I feel like you can make a connection.
I feel like it feels a lot
A
like
little
it,
bit. Yeah.
but I don't know.
I
If
would
we're-
say Prometheus.
Mm,
Okay.
The
The
original,
Alien prequel or sequel?
No,
or
no,
prequel?
no, no. It's
I
not-
always think that whenever people say that, I'm like,
Or the
I only
Greek
think
god.
It's
the
the
white,
Greek
the
god,
big
man.
white giant.
although the alternate title of Mary Shelley's novel is The Modern
your Prometheus?
Prometheus. So
Yeah.
Modern
still,
Prometheus. Yeah, it's a
It
full
works.
circle. No. But my favorite Frankenstein revival is Frankenstein Revived at Stratford, which is currently on.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
I saw that.
I didn't see that. I've heard mixed reviews.
Oh, really? I really enjoyed it. Vince and I went to see it when it opened last month.
Mhm.
Oh my god! I went in there being like, "This is gonna suck," because you're sold on the fact that there's no dialogue at all, and it's a full-on dance piece. And
I
it
didn't know
was,
that going in.
It was. I knew that going in, and I was like, "Oh no, what am I doing? What am I getting myself into?"
That's why I'm not seeing it.
No, Matt, it was gorgeous. Like the sound design is captivating, the movement. It would, and like Frankenstein, the guy who plays Frankenstein, his name is Marcus Nance. He is the most talented mover dancer I've ever seen. He does like flips and like a death drop. It's amazing.
Is he
It's
the doctor or the creature?
He's a
He's
creature.
the creature.
Oh, okay.
the
I
monster.
was like, the doctor's doing death drops.
Sorry, yeah.
The
Although
doctor dances too, but
The doctor dances too,
They all
and
do.
He is perfection.
It almost sold me. I wonder when it closes. I wonder if it's
I
still
think
open
October
once I get
30th.
back. Oh, it's more or less
Yeah.
when I get back. Unless I
Yeah.
see it this weekend. but
Lisa,
I
have you ever
don't know.
seen any like have you ever seen the play version at all?
I haven't actually.
Okay.
No, have you?
Yeah, well, just the one like so
one-
back in
yeah.
2020, in like peak lockdown, a number of theaters, including London National Theatre, like released archival footage, like
Cool.
for free on like YouTube and stuff. So the London National Theatre released a bunch of shows, including
Oh, it was fantastic.
Frankenstein. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I saw that broadcast in Cineplex because I think it was originally in theaters like in 2010 or 2011. So yeah, and you got to go back the next week to see the alternate cast because the whole premise with that production is that they had like their two lead actors, Johnny Lee Miller and Benedict Cumberbatch, alternated between Dr. Frankenstein and the monster every night.
That's
So yeah, they broadcast both versions, and Alex and I are still at odds as to which was the superior casting.
Well, we are in agreement.
Well,
on
actually,
a certain,
no, you're right.
Like we agree on a certain thing. It's just, it's kind of the effect of the cast. We disagree on like what's better for the show. I guess.
Yeah. Like I think we both agree that Benedict Cumberbatch is the more talented actor
Yeah.
of the two.
Yeah.
We disagree as to where the show benefits more for his
Yeah.
placement.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Because I feel Johnny Lee Miller is better at being a monster than he is at being the doctor. And Benedict grounds the show the way that Dr. Frankenstein needs to. And Johnny can just be subpar as the monster and it still works. But we'll discuss that another day, another time. Let's talk about this Frankenstein movie. Was this anyone's first time watching it?
In totality, yes, like beginning to end. I've seen the majority of it over my life, but yeah.
Okay, so more or less everyone has fresh eyes for this one. I feel, yeah, except for me. I've seen this movie a bunch of times, and I never like it. Maybe I respect it a little bit more now, but no, not really. The first time I saw this movie, it was in film school, and I was so excited because in film school you rarely get you go in thinking you'll get to watch a bunch of great classic movies, and that's not the case. Well, no, you watch classic movies, but very obscure like new wave movies. So it was very much not Frankenstein by Universal, and instead stuff like Jean-Luc Godard and like 2 to 3 Things I Know About Her, or like Laura Mulvey's Riddles of the Sphinx, which is a movie that still really angers me. That was a movie, Laura Mulvey's Riddle of the Sphinx. I have to go off on a slight tangent. It's 90 minutes and it's just 13 panoramic views, 360 degrees of just people existing in everyday spaces. There's no narrative. It's just an hour and a half of like this, of the camera doing this.
It sounds
And
like
it's
Tao.
It sounds like what?
Tao.
I don't know what Tao is.
It's like a art piece experience.
That's what
piece
this
that
is. If I
kind
was
of
like, this
spawned a
belongs in a
cult,
gallery,
like
not
a
here.
cult created
Yes.
it, kind of. I don't. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it was a
so,
cult. No, like, and I know why she made the movie, mostly because they told us, and
Yeah.
she put out statements. It was a comment on feminism and the roles women were expected to play. So all the like pans were showing women in different domestic environments. So it was like, here's a playground where they're meant to like play with their kids. Here's like a home where they're the homemaker. And I understood in theory why it was made, but at the end of the day, I was like, that was 90 minutes of my life. I read your essay and it was fantastic, Laura, but the movie, no. Anyway, I was really excited that we got to watch Frankenstein in one of my film classes until I actually watched it and thought, I've had such high expectations for this classic monster movie, and it's not that good. That's my opening statement. I'll discuss why I don't think it's good later. Yeah. Who wants to go next?
Okay. I will. I mean, I think it was the best movie of this collection that we've watched thus far. I would say, if we're talking about like are we talking about both of them in tandem, like together?
Frankenstein and Bride.
Well, okay. Well, if we're talking about Bride, I think Bride is an incredible movie. I think.
Well, no, we
Yeah,
could distinguish. We should
yeah.
keep them distinct. We should say
okay.
Frankenstein Part 1 and
So
Part 2.
if we're just talking about Frankenstein right now, it's better than all of the other Universal monster movies we've watched thus far. Which for me, I guess would only be 2 because I wasn't here for Invisible Man, but I have seen Invisible Man before in middle school, and remember it pretty vividly. So I do think this was the best one of the bunch thus far, with Bride exceeding this one, obviously. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it more than I expected to. I think after coming out of those other ones, I was like, okay, this will be good, but it won't be like, I'm not gonna watch it again. And so like there's a reason people used to put these on at parties and then like have the party around. I think that's where I saw most of these was Halloween parties where they were like on in the background. Nobody was really watching them. They were just there for ambiance. Like they're really good for that. This one I would sit down and watch again. So that's where I'm at on it.
High praise.
There's a Frankenstein haunted house on Clifton Hill in Niagara Falls, and they have one room where they just play this movie on repeat.
Yes.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yep. I don't know if anyone has actually sat down in the middle of their haunted house experience to really get the like.
Do you have the
value for their
option to
12
do
bucks.
that? They usually keep people trudging
I think I
along.
tried, but then one of the scare actors hovered over me until I
Oh, you
left.
went through this? You went through this place?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then it's not. I mean, it's not a haunted house, right? It's not very scary.
It's
my,
not
my,
very
my
scary.
tolerance for haunted houses is always higher than I think it is. But yes.
Oh, well,
but that-
good.
yeah.
Good.
But that one's not very scary by haunted house standards. Yeah. Anyway, Alex, first impression.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what Jeanette said. Like I thought like overall I walked away from this Frankenstein film feeling like it was the only one that compared to Dracula, Invisible Man, even Hunchback of Notre Dame, it was the only one that like I was like perfectly content kind of sitting through beginning to end, and like I got like I had no complaints about the way they told the story, basically.
Yeah.
Like the previous films, like there are the things in this movie that are like worse than the other films are certain performances, maybe certain like I don't know, sophistications in terms of theme or narrative, but the actual way the story is told, like the other films always had some kind of issue from my perspective in terms of the pacing or having a like convenient plot point to try to tell the story or finish the story. Whereas this story, it's a simple story. It's not a sophisticated story. It's man creates monster, man kills monster is kind of the very short narrative that the first Frankenstein film tells us. But that's fine. I don't, that's the story. It owns it and it tells it kind of as, efficiently as it could, and I respect that. I appreciate that. Whereas the other films, I found that they were the storytelling wasn't as coherent. Yeah. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the first Frankenstein film. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Lisa, opening statement.
Yeah, I think I watched this like when I was in grade 8 for the first time, like passing, and this is the first time with fresh eyes I've seen it. And I don't remember a lot from the first time I saw it, so rewatching it was very helpful to refresh my memory. And I just really enjoyed that it was like an hour and 10 minutes. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
short.
All of these films have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the other monster movies that y'all have seen during this series, but I'm like not always a fan of monsters depicted like, I don't know, like beings. Like I like ghosts and demon monsters. Like that's my horror genre where I'm like, yes, that's excellent. Um but I really enjoyed it. I think it was like a good in and out of a narrative. Um it is simple, but I think like there was a lot of themes within it where I was like sitting back as a modern audience person being like, "Huh, there's like themes about like what crazy means, what with Elizabeth and like her intuition, but like it being kind of passed off as like
Oh, you mean her foolishness?
very
My foolishness? If I hear one more woman in these black and white films say my foolishness, I'm gonna
I'm
freaking
like, girl,
send
you
Was
listen
there
to
an
that
Elizabeth my
intuition.
foolishness moment?
There's something like that in
There is a
every one where they're
foolishness.
like,
Somebody says
my
foolishness. I'm pretty
my
sure in the
foolishness.
first one.
I'm pretty sure in
The word
freaking
foolishness is-
Dracula there is definitely that. Or like my, it's always like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just my female brain.
Yeah,
My woman brain.
it's my
Yeah.
woman brain. Oh, I don't know.
And then,
Yeah, like I love old movies for this because it's just so interesting how women are treated. It's like, oh, Elizabeth, if like only this was made in like 2023, you would still not be listened to.
It's true.
But like, I don't know.
It would sound better. We would have.
It would
They
sound better.
don't hold anything back
The
too with
words would
treating
be
her
more
like a
respectable.
child, where especially when Henry's like, "No, Elizabeth, you must go. You'll ruin everything."
yeah, that part, I was like, oh yes.
Listen,
don't
please,
let the
won't you
woman
just
ruin
go
it.
away, Elizabeth? Please, just go
Like,
away. I love you.
I swear, if it was as easy to faint and fall asleep as it is for all the women in these movies, I would not have any trouble sleeping. I would just like scare myself to sleep every
Bedtime.
night.
I wish.
Also, I had no respect for Elizabeth in this movie because Henry is like, he's out to lunch. He has no commitment to her, and she still
He's
sticks
creating
with him.
life.
She sticks with him,
You
even though
can't-
Victor
you
is
can't
right
just
there.
brush off.
He's interested in her. He has a good job. He cares about her. It's like, Elizabeth, go for Victor. Clearly, she's marrying
He's
Henry for his
playing
money,
in the
and
realm
I do
of
respect
gods.
that. But
all right?
You know what? If she was pregnant and she did that to him,
That's
would be
not the
outraged.
same.
yes, it is.
It's
There
not
is
the
no.
same.
Yes,
He put it
is.
together. She just
She is
received.
incubating a human
Yes,
being.
against without any intention. She just
Oh,
receives
no.
the genetic material, and whatever happens, happens. He was making choices. He was uncovering the
I
secrets.
will say, to have
But-
a baby, women do not have to go dig up body parts.
Exactly.
True. It is
This is
true.
true.
It's much harder being Dr. Frankenstein than being a mother.
I think it's harder being Dr. What is it, Pimple Pop or whatever the second
Pimple
guy his
Popper.
name
Oh,
was.
well.
What was that guy?
We'll get
Pernicious.
to him.
Pretorius.
Pernicious
Pretorius,
Snitch.
I love
What is that
Dr.
guy?
Pretorius.
I kept calling him Dr. Pernicious. And I was like,
Pernicious.
Dr. Parnassus. That was the one I went to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my issue with original Frankenstein is that, first off, I think all of the performances are either subpar or boring. I think Dr. Henry Frankenstein, he has moments where he's kind of engaging and kind of interesting to watch, but also I just don't care for how the character's written. So there's that.
Crazy, am I?
Yeah, exactly. Like he has moments that are watchable, but everyone else just feels like every other side character from both Dracula and the Invisible Man. They're just very cut and dry, boring, normal humans with no depth to them and not particularly interesting Performances. Karloff as the monster was obviously the best part, but that's kind of what I expected. Kind of like with the Dracula movie, where it was like Bela Lugosi as the star, and the movie is just sort of meh. I appreciate the stuff that the film gave us that I feel inspired other better movies that came after it, like 100%. That's always cool to see. But my main issue, I think, especially comparing this to Bride, is that all the thematic stuff that I really have enjoyed in other Frankenstein adaptations I've seen wasn't present here. Like all the discussion with Frankenstein and the monster, with him saying, like, essentially, why did you make me? What's my purpose? Take accountability for your actions. We got none of that, right? Which is why my favorite scene in this movie is like their little fight, where at least I got to see the two of them together butting heads. But to me, this movie is just a very surface level, like, let's take the most superficial thing about Frankenstein and make a movie out of it. A man made a monster. There it is. And then it just ends with the dad saying, here's to a future little Frankenstein.
It doesn't just end. The Frankenstein, the windmill, they burn an entire windmill down.
No, but the final moment is just like, here's
but
to
that's
future
true of all the other
Frankenstein.
movies. Dracula ends, will you come with us, doctor? In a
I
moment.
know, and I
have
didn't
shit to
care
do.
for that either.
And then that ends. And
Maybe it was a style of the times to end movies.
yeah, it was very
Yeah,
consistent. Like
Yeah.
the only Invisible Man does have a very lovely button.
You
but
had
right
to you had to kill the bad guy, and then
Yeah.
you have to show the happy white couple, and then you just play.
yeah,
the candle
yeah,
at the
and then
end.
however and you pick out of a hat what the last moment is. Yeah, Invisible Man, they picked right. They picked well, but
Yeah.
you know, it's
Not
kind of a
with
fluke.
Frankenstein. No. I
Yeah.
will say that like this movie was like it was a good first movie of a series, you know? Like to me, I was like, yes, obviously Bride of Frankenstein was the better of the two, but
Yeah.
this one sets it up, right?
Okay.
It's a good setup movie.
Exactly. And I think, do you know, when I was watching it, when I'm watching Bride of Frankenstein, I go, this is kind of like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
It's really, it's
Yeah.
almost the same story, but just better. Just a
Yeah,
little bit
just
better. It's the
retconned.
same story, but
Yeah,
it's
it's the same thing with
better
like Hunger
acting,
Games.
better scene setting. Like,
Yeah, it's the same thing with Hunger Games. Catching Fire to me is the better of the two, and it was just the first movie. Like, whatever. It's fine. I'm not
sometimes
mad
it's
about it.
okay to do that in the sequel. I think if you do it and do it well, it's okay to just recycle your first movie. That's fine, as long as you
That's-
pull it off. Because if you don't, then it's like,
Yeah.
then it's the worst sequel, right? Then it's
That's one of the reasons I love Bride so much, is especially the framing device that it opens with, where they essentially say everything you saw in the first movie, that was Mary Shelley's imagination, and now she's here to give you a better version of continuing the story. Let's retcon it and like justify why this movie's better, because Mary's like, the story's not over. There's more. And let me recast
Yeah.
Elizabeth with a better
See,
actor.
so I'm like, my view on that, like I agree that the second one does a lot of things better than the first one. I don't think it does, like, it's certainly not as succinct a story, right? The second one is more indulgent, in my opinion. Like it takes, now it to an extent it has to be, because it's trying to tell a more interesting story, and it's trying to explore and develop the character of the monster and whatnot. So it has to take more time. Whereas the first one, it was very well paced in terms of like, it was just, you know, it wasn't trying to tell an especially deep story. So it kind of, the scenes didn't have to take too much time. But my problem was watching them back to back. I felt like the second one was in many ways a reboot, exactly kind of what you guys were talking about. Like it was reiterating the story of the first one and just kind of giving us more depth. And so the problem with that for me was that I kind of, it lost some of its intrigue having watched the first one. Like I was basically like, when they create the bride and they go, and it's like I don't know how long it is, like a 10-minute sequence of, it's a cool sequence in the set, like it's intricate, it's got a lot of design, production value, etc., compared to the first one that's not as interesting,
Yeah.
both sound wise and visually. But I already know what they're doing. I already saw the creation, so now I'm basically just watching a beefed up creation again. So I felt personally that took away from it. Personally, I was like, yes, these things are objectively better in isolation, but they don't exist in isolation. And furthermore, you're selling this to me as a continuation of that story, and then kind of rehashing a lot of what you tried to do in the first movie, doing it better. But I felt personally like I didn't appreciate that aspect of it. And I wish the Bride of Frankenstein was like I wish it kind of owned it being itself being a reboot. I don't think that's what they were going for per se. Like I don't think the idea of a reboot was quite in the film making zeitgeist. Yeah, but that's kind of more so where I was like, yeah, if you just sold me as like, this is Frankenstein, you don't need to watch the first one. We don't need to connect it to the first one. Or, and I said this earlier to Matt, like, or if it would have been made as a prequel, and that way I would have bought more into like, okay,
but how would a prequel work narrative?
I don't know, and I'm not saying I don't have a plan for that. I'm not saying that, but just in terms of that specific feeling of like, I'm watching the story progress, but you're basically just kind of showing me all the same things, just doing a better job, a more intricate kind of unpacking job of it.
Yeah,
that part I personally was bored by.
I feel like watching it back to back gives it like it fails in that regard.
Yeah, give me 4 years.
Imagine, going to the movie theater after 4 years of not seeing the original, like I would totally be more love that. Yeah, I think it's more impactful.
I agree.
I feel just listening to everything that you're saying, Alex, it's making me question if I would like the movie without the context of the first movie, like just on its own merits. Because I think the reason I like it so much is that it feels to me like it's completing the whole story. Like in my mind, essentially, it's one long movie when I just pair both of them together. Yeah. Especially because the second, like Bride of Frankenstein is taking, I think, elements from the novel, again, just based on what I know from the plays and the Wishbone adaptation that I've seen. And it's all the elements that I really like everything I already said I was missing about the discussion and the interaction between the monster and the doctor, and then even the scene with the blind man, which I think is from the book, or if not, it's been another adaptation.
It probably is. All the adaptations.
Like that's so beautiful. And then
that scene is so gorgeous.
Oh, I love it. Good. I love it. And so just
did anybody else laugh when he pulled out the smoke though? Did anybody else laugh when the blind man was like was teaching him all the like good things, then all of a sudden and smoking? I thought
I thought it was hilarious too.
It was a contrast to like this like blind like God praying man teaching bread.
It started with the wine where I was like, wine is good, like not in a large amounts, Frankenstein. And then he went to smoke the cigar, and I was
smoking.
like, not.
I made a joke with Matt that he's going to bring in women next.
Yeah. Pose.
And exactly. Anyway.
But anyway, when you pair the two movies together, you get The Blind Man, which is both hilarious but also a beautiful scene. And I also think having the monster come to life thing at the end of the movie is a nice balance, as the first movie essentially opens with that and this movie ends with it. Just it's all but if I watch it by itself,
I think you also need, because it makes you very conflicted. It's easy to, I mean, at least modernly, feel sympathetic to Frankenstein because you're like, he didn't ask for this. But I think if you watch the first movie and then this one, it really gives you a more conflicted view on Frankenstein, because he's killed a kid at that point, unintentionally, albeit. But
oh gosh,
still, it's rough. I didn't expect to see that in a movie from the 30s. Somebody walking around with a freaking limp child in their hand.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene. Yeah. That was an interesting scene.
Whoa, man, I didn't expect that. I'd never seen that scene. Like all the bits and pieces I'd seen at parties, like I guess I just tuned that out.
I think that scene might have been cut.
Maybe.
I think the actual murder scene was cut. I think that might be why it feels so disjointed when you watch it now. At least that's one of the reasons I don't like this movie.
That scene of him walking through the square with her.
Oh no, not that.
Is like of him, so long, and it's like, wow, it's very impactful.
Right?
That's why I think I think that is the old man friend scene of the first movie, the thing that's supposed to like really freaking sucker punch you and make you question everything.
Like I think it would have more impact if the scene between him and Maria was better executed. Like I think something about the pacing, the way it was shot. Also, I just didn't buy that would be what kills her. Like he just threw her in the water.
Maybe she can't swim.
Like
it was the shallow end.
You don't know how shallow it was. You just saw flowers floating on it.
Terrible swimmer.
There could also be a drop off.
She lives on the riverbank.
She could have landed on her neck.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's if it's shallow enough, she could have just broke her.
That's true.
Neck.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it couldn't have been drowning, but just more of like impact.
But also the way that she was handling that kitty, like she deserved it.
She was asking for a little bit of payback.
Well, look,
Sorry, Jeanette, but
Frankenstein is a big baby, right?
you
He doesn't
mishandled
have
kittens.
context, right?
Oh yeah, no, he
When
treated her the way she
Oh,
treated
yeah,
the
no,
kitty. She
he's
didn't know any
horrified,
better. He
right?
didn't know
Like,
any better.
The monster is horrified once he sees that like she's distressed or whatever. He does kind
Yeah.
of go away, being like, "Oh, what
He's
about?"
trying to
and then-
find help.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
intentional. He's a big baby. Nobody was taking care of him. This is
Yeah.
all the doctor's faults.
Oh, it's absolutely the doctor's
Yeah.
fault. Yeah, no justice for Dr. Frankenstein.
No.
No.
Oh,
No,
Frankenstein.
not at all. But yeah, I think the scene with Maria and the kitty and the daisies, on paper, it's a fantastic scene. And also, what I appreciate is that it shows us how the creature / monster interacts with somebody who's like genuinely nice to him, which I think is crucial. And then the tragedy is just understanding that he causes harm because he doesn't know any better with like in his most innocent actions. He's trying to play along and then she dies. But just the way that it's shot, it just verges more on comical, I feel, than emotionally pertinent because it's just like flower, okay, splash.
And the first movie's also, I mean, like you also see X amount more kills. Like I really didn't remember that Frankenstein killed so many people until I rewatched. I was like, wow, he really like the kill count in these movies is high.
Yeah,
I was like,
doesn't beat Quasimodo's in
That's
Notre
true.
Dame with that log. He probably just killed like 8 people.
I still don't know how. I mean, that was complete self-defense. These people were coming at him.
He didn't have to melt all of Paris. He didn't have to melt them.
He didn't have to burn their skin off.
That was what he had at his defense.
That's true. Well, yeah. Still, though, he didn't have to melt them. He did what he had to do, though. Still, justice for Quasi.
Kills are kills. Self-defense or not. Kills are kills. I'm just saying, Quasimodo's got quite the kill count in our first film.
So, well, we've kind of veered into talking about Bride anyway, but let's go back to Frankenstein original. And well, we can even kind of talk about both movies, but I want to talk about the It's Alive scene from original Frankenstein, because I think that's a scene that, at least in pop culture, has kind of become its own thing. I feel when people are bringing things to life, a lot of inspiration is drawn from this movie, even if it's just someone yelling, it's alive, or now I know what it feels like to be God. But one of my biggest things with original Frankenstein going into it is that scene is never as good as I want it to be. And
so elaborate, Matt. Explain specifically.
I want more bells. I want more whistles. I want more of a distinct, like, let me pull the lever and here's the lightning bolt infusing life into him. I want to see the creature rise up and all that, as opposed to what we get is elevator ride, some thunder and lightning come down, and then
twitching fingers.
I know what's missing. It's the score. There's like a lack of musical score. Because
that's what I said too, the whole movie.
Like I was just so disappointed. I was like, this would be totally scary and like jarring if there was a drums in the background or something.
For sure. I think it makes such a difference seeing how big of a role the score plays in Bride of Frankenstein, because like by the time Bride came out, that was more of a convention that they realized, scores make movies better. Let's throw scores on. No,
it
better.
See how much changed in those 4 years. I mean, coming from the early 30s into the mid 30s, headed into the late, but like it's a lot. Oh, specifically, actually, if you notice at the beginning of original Frankenstein,
Karloff.
No, it's Mrs. Percy, whoever,
really?
Mrs. Percy Shelley, and then in the second movie, it's Mary Wolfenstaffen-Krafenstock Shelley.
Yeah.
There you go.
Which is her mother's maiden name. The Wollencraft is her mom's maiden name.
In the first one, it's Mrs. Percy, whoever the hell her husband was, and then in the second one, she gets her own name. So
I didn't notice that. That's wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there is like some speculation that like when Frankenstein was first published, a lot of people were like, "Oh, she didn't write it; it was her husband."
Yeah.
And she even attributes, like, she has an author introduction where she talks about how her husband did help her with the story, but it's her story. She's the one who like completely had the whole authorship for it. But like back in those days, of course, you were married, you would have your full husband's name.
Well, it also probably had to do with publishing as well, I would assume.
But
that was an interesting thing that in the credits in 31 they credited her husband, and then in 35 they credited her.
That's interesting. I wonder how much of that also has to do with the fact that Mary Shelley is a character in Bride of Frankenstein as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. But
That
it was the
whole-
book credits specifically.
Yeah. That whole first scene in The Bride of Frankenstein like actually happened. Like that visit with her
Yeah.
husband, and Lord Byron like actually took place. And like that's where she created the idea of Frankenstein.
Yeah. And if you're to take
Mhm.
anything away from that couch scene, I'd say a lot more took place. So
I would love to know.
that couch scene was getting
Well, there's a play.
Nice
There's
for
a
a
play about
second.
that.
What?
Well, actually, I guess it
What
might
is
not
it?
be like a full on like published book
Alex,
play.
they don't post plays on that site, okay? I think this is not a play.
No, it checked all the basic fundamental requirements that a play needs. You know, it had
I'm
people,
sure it did.
dialogue,
Beginning, middle, and end.
cameras.
Yeah.
That's all you need, right?
Yeah.
No, I saw some. It might have just been like somebody's like thing, but in Toronto a few years back, I saw like in a bar a production of it was like a 4-person. Was it a 4-person?
Vicky Christina Shelley.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but it was it was like a 4-person production that featured like Mary Shelley, her husband, Lord Byron, and some other
Huh.
4th character, and it was all about like Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein, but also having sex with everybody, and yeah, like they were having sex with each other.
As one does during a hurricane party. I mean, you know,
Honestly, go off.
that's all they were having was a hurricane party. It's like, come look at the storm, drink some drinks. Let's tell some story.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wonder how many classic monster stories came out of hurricane parties.
Probably a lot.
One can
Probably.
A
wonder.
few true ones at least.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
How did we get to be here? What was the moment? Another thing I thought was really cool about the credits comparing the first movie to the second movie is how much more Hollywood the credits seemed in the second movie. Like the first movie, they don't tell you who played the monster. It's just like question mark. The second movie opens with Karloff is back, essentially. And then it just so leaning into celebrity culture, which I thought was interesting.
The
But
beginning of the machine.
yes,
But
exactly.
the credits in The Bride of Frankenstein, so they did the same thing with The Bride, and at the end there was still a question mark, but it's just the person who plays Mary Shelley at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are you still hiding?
That was like,
Like, it's
fun
clearly
for them to
that
figure
person.
out. Yeah, like maybe it was fun for people to figure out. Like, how frequently did people get dual cast in movies back then? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It wasn't a huge thing, actually. I don't.
Yeah, so maybe it was just fun. Maybe it was like a little play along thing.
But also, like, if I didn't know, I wouldn't have connected it because she looks and seems so different, at least to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're not looking for it, I definitely think you could be
I
forgiven.
thought it
for
was
not
cool. That was
noticing.
a cool touch, though.
Oh, I love it.
I like that.
It was
love
really
it.
nice.
And yeah, and also it's so long by the time you see the bride. Like I've forgotten what Mary Shelley's face looked like.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And like the whole makeup and the wig. It
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
It's just very like distinctive eyes, though.
Yes, very distinctive. Wide eyes. I will say the Frankenstein, I found it interesting that they had this like content warning.
Yes, let's
yeah,
talk about that.
Research guy. I like because I think content warnings are great. I personally don't want to hear the content warnings for things because I like going in surprised. But like I get it. People want to know what they're going into. Cool. I was shocked that in the 1930s they had something like that. But it kind of makes sense because people like would get all in a huff or like feel very reactive to something that they've seen.
Yeah.
So like
Like
I'm
how
glad
many
the little
movies had
Frank-
shown a limp child's body? Like, I mean, if I was growing up then and like had seen maybe 2 movies in my whole life and was like, I'm
that's
gonna
what
go
you
see
see?
this one.
traumatizing.
Pretty
Yeah.
surprising. It's still, I mean, if you put that scene in a movie now, that's surprising. Colorize that scene, probably even more shocking.
Like I think it's interesting looking into how shocking this movie seemingly was when it came out, because I might be making this up. I didn't have time to research it before we started. I should have. I get the impression that people were like fainting when they saw the creature for the first time on screen. And like there was a huge deal with that line when Henry says, "Now I know what it feels like to be God," where they had to cut that out because no one can be God except for God, and like the church, etc. And then plus Maria dying, and I feel that kid scene might have been totally cut out at one point, but that's all why they had to put in the content stuff at the beginning. But it's just
cutting
like,
down a body that's hanging, like
like so many things.
really
And I feel like
grotesque.
either we're
31?
really desensitized now or they were really sensitive then. But
I
also
think
looking
we're
at
just desensitized.
it could be.
Like,
Yeah.
I think so because there's so many shows out, like The Walking Dead, right?
Mhm.
The Walking Dead is such a good barometer of how we're just on the scale of desensitization. Because I'm like, I don't think like my grandmother in the 40s would be able to handle
Well,
this.
like, I just got back from Halloween Horror Nights and like I walked through some of these houses and like, I mean, I'm not freaked out, but like I see like kids there, like kids.
Yeah,
And like
and they're all about it.
some of these like stagnant things they have in the houses are so grotesque. Like the things that move aren't really that grotesque. It's like the things they've built that are just like standing there. It's like,
Mhm.
holy moly. I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was probably watching stuff like that when I was younger, but like, I don't think anybody was letting me. So I was just like, whoa.
I remember my mom telling me like how affected she was when she was, I don't know, in her teens watching The Exorcist. And
Yeah.
she's like,
Oh,
I
all the
am
moms.
Yeah, she was like, I can't do horror movies. This is awful. Like, no, 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 no. And I remember when I watched it in my teens, I was like, this is great. Like, whatever.
Oh, I've
It's
still
so-
never
it's-
seen it
it's a
because
The
it
generational
freaks
Exorcist
me
is
out.
actually one of the most meek horror films, in my opinion, of all the baddies films, like all the classic like baddies films.
Yeah.
It's one of the most meek and easy to digest. Like there's like a few gross scenes, but not anything really gory. Really,
I think
some of
it's
the
because-
later Exorcist films, yes, but not
I
that
think
one.
it's because we understand the really like their practical effects, right? Like they had like dolls, they were moving people's heads. Like it's not. I think as an audience member, we've seen other types of grotesque things that, like in that generation, how many times have they seen that type
Well,
of
just
horror,
the
right?
idea, like they kept repeating, he took pieces of bodies and put them
Right.
together, and it's like, yes,
Yeah.
that's a horrible idea, but like now you could say that in like a kids cartoon if you really wanted to, and
Exactly.
like, but they
Yeah,
were like, it was supposed to be really shocking, and I think one of the things that really freaked people out, like if you get up close on that makeup for the time, that's
Mhm.
was bonkers good. How they made the skin look like it was folding in on itself. It wasn't just a line. Like the bride's makeup is some BS. I have to say they had to keep her
will
pretty,
say
so it's just
little
lines.
slits were
Oh, but she's so
lines.
pretty. She's so pretty
She is
though.
very pretty, but I'm saying like his was so much
Mhm.
more intricate, and the way that the staples were like on this thing, I actually don't like how this pop doll does it because it's like these nice, neat little lines. But if
Mine
you're
is
watching that
so-
movie,
Yeah.
there's like one big one over here, a little one over here, and
Mhm.
like I imagine
Yeah,
like
no, we
that
got a
had to be really freaking gnarly back then.
Yeah,
But
yeah, totally.
yeah, well, I'm also thinking though they had seen, I feel, more disturbing things prior to this, like the
everyday life.
Quasimodo. Well, on screen too.
Well,
Well,
actually,
the
in
Quasimodo
real-
makeup was
like
Quasimodo
war,
makeup was
World War
unsettling.
I.
Who else? The Hunchback, the Lon Chaney Hunchback makeup, I still find kind of much more unsettling to look at than this. And then there was also who else? Oh, I'm gonna find it. There's this movie that not many people seem to talk about called The Man Who Laughed, and it inspired the
yeah.
Joker.
Heard of this?
Yeah.
And
I
it's
wanna
also based
say-
on a Victor. It's also based on a Victor Hugo
I think
story
Rob
about a
Zombie
guy
has a thing
who's
about it.
basically his mouth is affixed into a permanent smile.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is
So-
terrifying.
I feel like all those were more terrifying than this, but I'm thinking now more so in the context. I think a lot of it probably had to do the disturbing factor with them talking about let's dig up dead bodies and like just
Put
the
a new
concept
brain in.
combined, because like thinking about The Exorcist, the reason I've never seen it and I will never see it is because the idea scares me, I think, more than anything visually, because I had to endure like 10 years of Catholic school as a youngster up until
Oh,
grade 8.
yes.
So I feel like there's just a deep rooted fear of demonic possession in me
damnation.
that I will never shake. And so just knowing that that's what the movie's about, no matter how dated the makeup might look or how campy maybe the puke scene might be, I'll never watch the movie because the idea is enough
It's so
for me to like
terrifying. Yeah.
never go to. Yeah, never.
No, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There is like a heavy, like obviously there's a heavy like Catholic presence that's just so terrible.
Oh yes.
Like not even God can save you. Like,
Now I know what it is to be God. What did everyone
Careful.
think of Dr. Parnassus or whatever his name was? Dr.
Parnassus.
What is it?
Pernicious?
Outrageous.
Pretorius.
Pretorius.
Pretorius. Yeah. He was so
Pretorius.
Pterodactyl.
I mean, first of all, he's a doctor of philosophy. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he
Well-
says a lot. He introduces him as a doctor of philosophy, but then she says something about the guy being sick, and he goes, "But I'm also a doctor."
Also a doctor.
Implying that he's a medical doctor, but
He's
maybe
such a
he's just
con.
tricking her.
He's
He's
a
just saying,
sketch
"I'm a doctor here."
That's the guy that should have played Frollo in freaking Hunchback. That guy looked, at least by
Ooh.
like, he looked like our animated Frollo, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm thinking that. But like, I was like, "Ooh, those guys are really creepy."
I forgot who I said who.
He looks
got
like Grand Admiral Tarkin from
Tarkin.
Star Wars. What's his name?
Yeah, he
Peter
does.
Cushing.
Huh?
Yeah,
Peter Cushing.
Yeah, Peter Cushing.
No, he also looks like someone else from Vince will know.
Grand
I
Moff
said it. I
Tarkin.
don't know what he looked like. But yeah, I liked him. I thought he was a more interesting character than Dr.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Oh, so much more
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah.
Like he was
I
more
liked him.
to me, like Dr. Frankenstein is like he was trying to go in it with the intention of like creating life, finding immortality. Like there was like a goodness to him in a messed up kind of way. But Dr. Parnassus was like making these little miniature like people
He
and
made
like,
a mermaid.
I
don't
love
know.
that. Those special effects were freaking
Yeah, the effects were great.
amazing. I was
Effects
like,
were great, but
Yeah.
we did not
Wow.
need to see the mini people. That was a totally
We
superfluous.
I
needed
loved
the
it.
mini people.
It was cool
amazing.
effects.
Yes,
was
I
really
agree. It was
cool.
cool effects. I'm just saying,
But
narratively
it also
speaking,
shows us that this guy, I think it's laying groundwork, in my opinion. Like, yes, they didn't have to go that far, but it was really cool. But it's laying groundwork that he has these capabilities. And
it
like,
is.
I
It is.
almost like question why he needs this guy, because I'm like, you're making like
like
also, here's the capitalist American in me. I'm sitting there like, and you could sell those to kids for so much money.
Yeah.
Why would you not
Tens
sell
of
these
dollars.
to children?
it's the 30s.
Just sell them as toys. Are you crazy?
How
I
could that
know.
I
know?
mean-
They have
Okay.
minds.
Okay, I guess that's still acceptable
So
in the
do fish.
30s to an
Are we buying
extent.
those for children?
Fish don't have well, anyway.
Oh my God.
Well, no, let's not talk about the consciousness of fish, all right?
Give them kittens and ducks and bunnies. Like,
yeah, those. Yeah, I'll
Tiny
concede
people?
those.
sure. Why not? Yeah, that scene was amazing. I thought that crypt scene was a banger. If you set that up somewhere as like a little like speakeasy bar, I'd go to that. The Dr. Pernicious like crypt bar, and where you're serving wine on top of a coffin, and there's just some kooky old guy like having a good time with you. I was like, he just is like, oh, cool, the monster found me. I didn't even have to find him. I just hang out in this crypt and he'll find me. And we'll have a drink and a smoke and have a party. And then I'll bring him back to my place. Like, what?
Anyone
Oh,
else have thoughts on Dr.
Pernicious?
Pernicious?
Notorious.
Pretorius.
My Dr. Precious.
Dr. Pepe.
Pectoral.
Pectoral, yeah.
That's true. They probably did
Dr.
starve after he died.
Yeah, the little mini people. Yeah.
Yeah, we
No,
never
my
go
whole
back
thing.
to find them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's totally useless. But yeah, no, my whole thing was just like the pacing, right? Like, I was just kind of like, I was so used to like the succinct story of the first film that when the second film, like I just kind of jumped on like, oh, I bet you that these tiny people are going to play no significance to the story. Maybe one thing if like, like, I don't know, they needed them later on in the
They
movie.
Gulliver traveled Frankenstein's monster to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they're the borrowers and they like come and like save the day or something. But like I was like, they're just doing this to show us that he's like a smart scientist and can do stuff. But you could just tell me he's a smart scientist and give me the bride and I'll believe it. I don't need you to show me the mini people.
But I'm so happy that they did.
I know, I am too.
If they did,
Yeah, I appreciate the effect.
if they remade it nowadays and like they cast Larry David as Dr. Pernell,
Oh my
they
god.
rewrote,
Yeah.
they just like rewrote the whole thing with the little people and like it would be iconic.
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yes. Oh my
Uh,
god, Christopher Lloyd. What was he in that I just saw? Oh my god, he was in
Spirit
something
Halloween, the movie.
No, he like played some vital role in. Oh, Mandalorian. That's what it was.
Oh.
He's in this episode of
interesting.
Mandalorian, and he plays a bad guy, and he's really, really good at it.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Christopher
He's
Lloyd's
like 90. I don't know. What is he? 95 or something now? I thought it was just like, whoa, look at Christopher
Yeah,
Lloyd.
He's
yeah.
still going.
good.
Yeah, I want a Dr. Pretorius origin story. I want the movie where he's making
Yes.
little people in jars.
Yeah, where is his lab? Like, I want to go like his little people lab, not this lab.
Yeah, I
That
just
lab.
want to know the science behind. Like, this is why I love science.
It's verging on dark magic, Lisa.
You just
I
want to know
know.
the secret formula to make little people. That's what you want to know.
So you can sell them to children.
I just
No.
want to know how you make little people.
No, I was during the Bride of Frankenstein when like they're putting her on the elevator cart and
Yeah.
he's talking about get the diffuser Quattro something. I'm like, that is just gibberish, but I love sci-fi for that
I
reason. And I
know.
would love to know the sci-fi on how to create
I
little
love. He also called it the cosmic diffuser, and
Cosmic
they said so. They took the big thing off, right? That looked like like the little clicky clackies, and then they were like, take the diffuser plates off, and the diffuser plates. They kept playing sound effects over them, but then you could hear like the wood that they were made of hit the ground after the click clank sound that was supposed to be metal. I loved it so much.
amazing.
Yeah, there's a bit of jank. There's a bit of jank. especially
That
in
was
second one.
lab scenes were always fun because they couldn't afford that much metal. No way. They were
No,
like,
absolutely
build that out of wood, build that out of wood. It's black and white. Nobody can see textures here.
But they made it look so much better in the second movie. So actually, that's another reason I don't like the first Frankenstein. The production design really annoys me. For so like,
no,
there's
this
so
is
many
the second
things.
one. This
Oh
is
yeah,
the
yeah,
right
no,
yeah,
the
he's just
second
going
one is
back to
great.
the
The
first
second,
one.
I'm
Yeah.
going back to the first one because I haven't spoken enough about this element of why I don't like the first movie. The production design is just, it looks so cheap. You can see the creases in the background when they're on the cliff. And
Yeah.
there's just such inconsistency in terms
a
of
little
when does this movie
spooky.
take place? Is it the 1930s or is it the 1800s? Where is it? Is it England? Is it Germany? Is it America? And I feel like the second movie does such a better job of blending everything together where there's discrepancies, but it feels unified within its own world. And there's no
second
unity.
movie is obviously supposed to be somewhere in a Bavarian country. I'm assuming Germany. And they have so many Irish accents that it is wild. British
It's
and Irish
wild.
accents galore. The only German is the old guy in the first movie.
Yeah,
right?
he has
Like,
some
the
V's
only
and
guy
some
that sounds
W's.
remotely German at all. Which again, this time period was not known for its historical and geographical
Yeah.
accuracies.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that was and the Cockney sounding maid in her funny little
Oh, from Invisible Man. Minnie.
Yeah,
I love Minnie.
yeah.
headdress. So I love that's another thing that changed from 1931 to 1935 is the use of comic relief.
Yeah.
I think I loved that. The comic relief was
Oh yeah. Well, that was
Yeah.
one of the things. Like this was directed by James Whale. Well, James Whale did Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and Invisible Man, and I
Oh.
think he's a very talented director who got better as his movies went on. But the thing that we discussed last week with Invisible Man was that one of the things I like about it is I think it's really nicely balanced between being kind of thrilling, but also having this very self-aware camp sensibility. And I feel like that kind of bleeds over into this movie as well, where like
Yeah.
tonally it feels much more balanced and aware of what kind of movie it is with the comedy and with the like high fantasy and everything. Like this movie feels much more unified for a director vision, whereas the first movie just feels very sloppily sewn together like a Frankenstein monster.
I mean, I
No.
feel like he probably
Yeah.
had a lot of restrictions in the first one. Like they were taking a chance on this, like the story and him, because Invisible Man came after Bride of Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, or I
No,
think it
after
came
Frankenstein. I
before.
think before, wasn't it
Oh, it was
33?
before.
Or
Well,
no?
because
Like-
Frankenstein did so well, and then Universal was like
Yeah,
at
they were like,
James
let's-
Whale's feet saying, please direct more, give us a sequel. And he said, I don't want to do a sequel. I want to do Invisible
Yeah,
Man. They're
Invisible
like,
Man is
okay, do Invisible
33.
Man.
So
then give us a sequel.
Frankenstein 31, Invisible Man 33, Bride of Frankenstein
Bride of
35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were probably like taking a chance on him, and there was a lot of restrictions on him. But like they apparently the budget for Frankenstein was like almost the same as Bride of Frankenstein. They went like $100,000 over, but like the production quality was so much better. Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes.
So
I think if I'm not
I understand that.
mistaken, I feel like they had more extras and background in the first one in terms of people.
Probably.
Yeah,
because there were
probably.
more scenes, right, with the the wedding
Yeah.
and the like
The wedding, the street
in the woods,
crowd,
in the
yeah.
thing, in the village. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They-
but
it's-
I also wonder if anything changed with how much they had to pay people.
yeah,
for
like I don't
background.
know if like extras were paid like they
Yeah, maybe
are
there was a strike
Mhm.
for extras.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, because I think that's something we discussed with Hunchback specifically about
Yeah,
how
many, yeah.
how like they didn't have to like they didn't pay extras like anything for the most part,
Yeah.
and they were treated
Yeah.
horribly. But it was like, look at the great cinema that was made because of the sheer scope. So I don't know. I would work off the assumption that by 35, they probably weren't treated that much better or paid that much better.
Yeah,
but
yeah, but it's
enough
possible
they got
yeah.
less.
Yeah. And even if they got like something that would be a pittance, right? Like would certainly not be like, enough, it would still potentially justify the production like having, being able to use that budget elsewhere, right? If they're not going to have it in like background, even if it's like a tiny fraction or whatever. But yeah.
So going back to Bride of Frankenstein, how does everyone feel about the fact that the title character is in like 30 seconds of the movie and then dies?
Yeah, right.
I didn't like it. Yeah. I thought I was expecting, like by the time the movie ended, I was disappointed. I was expecting this to I was expecting there to be more to that whole dynamic of like, granted, the film does a decent job of exploring like Frankenstein and the idea of a companion, right, with the blind man, and a bit with Dr. Pretorius, and then it concludes with the bride. But I was genuinely expecting more. Like, I wasn't expecting a happily ever after, but I was expecting a bit more of like a dynamic. Like, when I saw her screaming,
more interaction.
More of like something interesting of like, okay, can they like convince her not to scream, or is it like a doomed endeavor? But it was so quick. It was just like, she hates me. Well, she doesn't. She's newborn. She hates everything. Remember what you were like when you were born? What did you like? What did you hate?
Yeah, right. I will say, when we got to that point and he was like, "Oh, she hates me. We all deserve to die." I was like, classic.
Also,
story
why did
much?
Frankenstein? Yeah.
Like, oh, you don't like me? Good. Nobody can have you, and I'm gonna die too. Like, I mean, that hasn't changed much.
He was a real man.
Like, yeah, I was like, what the hell?
But he
Like,
was strangely sympathetic to Dr. Frankenstein and his bride.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he was
didn't love
strangely,
that.
like, it was
They
that
all
was also
should've-
kind of out of the blue
they
of
all
like,
should've collapsed.
you
I
live.
told you, the
You go
monster
live.
dies and the happy white hetero couple gets to have their
Live,
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
is
that's
great.
the Deus
how
Ex
all
Machina.
these movies
The
end.
first movie is better than the second movie. I'm glad we agree.
What?
Frankenstein is more sensical than Bride of Frankenstein.
At least
all
the
things
the
considered.
ending.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
look, those two men, Dr. Frankenstein and Dr. Pretorius, had no business creating a woman. Okay, I was like, this is bad. You're gonna expect her
What's the
just
word
to
for
be
cultural appropriation, but not cultural appropriation, like sexual appropriation?
Sexual appropriation.
There we go. Sexual appropriation.
Right, and they never mentioned how old Frankenstein's monster is. They're never like, oh, we got to go
Well,
find
he's
these
all
body
the
parts.
ages.
This one, they're like, how old is he?
19?
19.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Like,
No,
Solid bones. Solid bones.
like gross. Yeah, no, those men had no business creating a woman. They should have. And oh man, I was very upset. I think when Vince and I were watching it after the crowd scene, where like they were like, there was a crowd scene where I was like, oh, we're close to the end and there's
In
no
the
bride
first film?
yet.
Yes.
Oh, the second film. Yeah.
And we were like, oh, maybe it's going to be a happy ending with the bride being created. And it just wasn't. I was like, good for her. Good for her for not liking him. Because, like,
Yeah.
I'd be
Right?
pissed off too.
She's standing her ground.
Yeah.
I think it's so fascinating. Like, she's up there with the others who get full movies as being like one of the classic Universal monsters, and she's there for 30 seconds maybe.
yeah,
But it's like
Although that
such a good
hiss before
performance.
they all die, that hiss, that is terrifying.
The hiss is terrifying. Like her
She has an
movement quality,
intimidating hiss.
and even just
Yeah.
like her arms and her
I'd be
movement is
pissed
so
too if-
captivating. I love
if
it.
you woke up and there was like a hot doctor, and then you were like, but this guy is yours, and you're like, the hell? Who's this dude? Like,
I mean, for all that we know, she could have been more attracted to Elizabeth than any of the guys
there
there.
you go.
Like, yeah,
She
Maybe
didn't
it was
even
the
have the time
concept
to
of being
figure
with
that out
any
for
man that she
herself.
was screaming against.
Exactly. Yeah,
We'll
no,
never
justice
know.
for the bride. Justice
Yeah,
for the
actually, yeah, Justice for the Bride. It just really sucks that, like, yeah, she's alive, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Here's your husband." I felt so bad for Frankie too, which is why I'm calling him the creature from now on. Felt so bad for Frankie because you saw like he had so much care with her, and like he was a perfect gentleman. I feel. He
Well,
approached
save for
her.
like he just immediately like kind of latched onto her, right? He could have had a bit more like,
But
you
he
know,
didn't have a class to
more.
talk about
I know.
consent.
Well,
you know?
but he learned a lot. Yeah, Pretorius wouldn't have taught him that. Let's be real. He's a villain, you know. Yeah.
But Dr. Frankenstein could have, like,
Yeah,
come on.
Frankenstein, but Frankenstein has his flaws, right? He wasn't willing to see his monster, his
That's why he's
creation
unfit to
as
be a father. We
more
know
than a monster.
that.
He's unfit to
Yeah.
be God.
Exactly.
Like, these men need to stop.
Yeah.
But if we had more bride content in the movie, like what do you think that could have been or looked like? Like what else could that character have done to serve the story?
I just think we needed more time with them being together on screen. Like I felt that, again, I ended the movie feeling like Frankenstein's monster was a bad guy because I was like, great, rejection. And so you're gonna let the guy that did all this to you escape, but you're gonna kill this poor thing that is like, I was like, I ended the movie not liking him and liking her. I was like,
I mean,
well, that sucks.
letting Dr. Frankenstein escape, I actually like your pitch that it was a meta, like just a full on, like, we need the white, like, male female couple
We
to like
can't just kill
live.
him.
Yeah, so
There's a
I'm just gonna
bride.
chalk that to like, I'm not gonna put that on Frankenstein, on the monster, on Frankie.
Well, yeah, that is probably my biggest complaint about this movie. I don't think there's any reason that Frankie, again, the monster, would allow Dr. Frankenstein to live and not Dr. And like decide that Dr. What's his face, Dr. Pretorius deserves death. Like if I were Frankie, I would think Dr. Frankenstein deserves to die more than Dr. Pretorius. Dr. Pretorius was nice to him, was nice to Frankie.
Well,
with ulterior motives. But
he
still.
created this
wasn't nice. He was just
creature who doesn't like him. Like, so I think he sees Dr. Frankenstein as like his dad, and he wants to protect his dad, even though he's a shit dad, you know?
I would like more interaction between them. Yeah, I want more of that. Like, you were a shit father. Be better, doctor.
Yeah, they didn't really explore that like creation too much. They did a tiny bit of it, but not too much.
Yeah, it's like I said to Alex that I wanted more of the Barbie movie moment of what was I made for. I wanted that. I wanted a montage with that song. Was like, what was I made for?
Yeah, you just want. That's brilliance in film. Throw a song that verbalizes the theme that it's exploring. Yeah, that's that guy. Anyway.
Yeah, I want Greta Gerwig's Frankenstein.
Sure. I think
okay. Exactly like what Jeanette said in terms of like the Frankenstein like the Frankenstein's monster and Bride of Frankenstein. Like they're just more time together. More like the Bride of Frankenstein is a chance to explore another perspective too, because one of the things again, and that was another problem I have with looking at the first movie kind of and the second movie as one. There are inconsistencies that I'm not satisfied with, right? And like the first movie very like spends a lot less time kind of exploring the humanity of Frankenstein. It does very little, right? Like it kind of starts off with the whole like he's got an abnormal brain, a criminal brain.
Right, when Frankenstein, you mean monster?
Monster.
Oh, Frankie.
I'll say
Frankie.
yeah, Frankie.
Thank you.
So yeah, Frankie has like a criminal brain, but even in the first movie, Frankie has like he's not just immediately aggressive and violent and like bad in response to every stimulus, right? Like the daughter and stuff, like the little girl. So even that is kind of like a commentary of like just be it's almost like the movie starts off with this premise of like there are good brains and there are bad brains, but even with the bad brain we see elements of good. So the movie's kind of, it doesn't really explore that too much, doesn't unpack it, but it does show us at least that even a bad brain can be good. So maybe there isn't really a bad brain or whatever.
Yeah,
but there's like
Dr. Frankenstein even says, well, it doesn't matter. It just tissue to move
Yeah,
up
but he
the
doesn't
speed.
say that. He doesn't. He says that like after a long like pause and like this like he's got a bad brain. Doesn't matter. It's just tissue. It doesn't matter. that'll be fine. My experiment will work. I think that's more. Yeah, I interpret that more as like just like it's too late now. It's just
Too
see what
late now.
happens.
But no, but he's
Um,
right, because seemingly they're like the only criminal tendencies that we see from Frankie are the ones that are motivated by people being horrible to him.
Yeah.
At first.
I don't know. He murders a few innocent people here and there, like just rando people that are just like.
Oh yeah, but by then he's been totally abused by all humans.
He's traumatized. He needs
Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah, he's
Does
in,
he?
in the
Yeah.
context like he doesn't, with the exception of like when he goes like when he gets pretty much whenever he does kill somebody, with the exception of the girl, but again that was totally unintentional. Like when he's intentionally hurting people, it's in the context of them like screaming or yelling at him or fighting with him. Like he doesn't,
Yeah.
so that's kind of the thing. And again, he's still we in the first movie especially, he's still very much this like creature, like not very smart or educated. He doesn't write. The second one he picks up language and all that kind of stuff. But so anyways, but that's the thing. Like I think, what you're saying,
Like he picked up language very fast.
yeah,
the
but that's
way he,
see, they just shoot
him. Like one word things, and then he started speaking in full sentences. I was like, wow, he is a literary genius.
I guess you could argue like it's somewhat believable if you kind of accept the premise that his brain was an adult formed brain.
Oh, true.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work like that in a biological, real sense, but there's something there, so we can just kind of believe that, like, okay, maybe it's just easier for him to learn because it's already in there somehow.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were things that they could have done with the bride and just showing, and again, that whole other perspective, right? Like that was my point. They made a point in the second film that the bride's brain was like new or created.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just taken from somebody else's brain. It was like developed and dormant. It's alive but dormant was Pretorius's word. So like I actually thought that's what they were going to do. I thought they were going to make this contrast of like Frankie was made with this abnormal criminal brain. The bride is made with in a different way.
Blank canvas.
Well, maybe, and then we'll get to see what the kind of results are. And the results where she just screams at Frankie and then hisses. So yeah, they could have, there was opportunity to explore kind of what, if the movie wanted to make a commentary on abnormal versus normal brains, it could have. If it wanted to make a commentary on how like there isn't really a difference, they could have unpacked that or emphasized that point, being like, it's remarkable. She has a brand new brain, and yet they're the same, or something, right? They could have done something like something like that. Right? There were opportunities to do things with that character.
But don't forget, she has a woman brain, which by 1935 standards would explain a lot.
First movie, they should have had like normal, abnormal, and one female brain. Observe. The smaller this, the weaker that.
Literally how science works, how medical science works.
The center of female hysteria is right here.
Right here, all of it.
Right next.
They
Alex,
should have
stop.
I know they would never in the 1930s, but they should have gotten Elizabeth to consult on the creation of the bride. I think that would have been great, and it would have been a good bonding experience for the new married couple.
Right?
No, instead they're just fondling 19-year-old corpses
and creating 19-year-old corpses for hearts.
Yeah.
That poor woman just walking down the street. That Fritz kills. Not ready for that. Yeah.
Traumatizing.
How do we feel about? Can I ask about Renfield? How do we feel about?
Oh, we love him.
He
could do no wrong.
In both movies. I love him.
He was also an Invisible Man for a brief cameo.
Who is this?
Yeah, he was a reporter.
The guy that plays Renfield in Dracula is also the what we would call the Igor. I forget. He has two different names.
Fritz
in Frankenstein. Movie. And Jeanette, did you notice who he was in Bride?
He's Franz.
He's Carl.
Oh, Carl? I thought it was Franz. No, probably Carl.
He says Carl, and then he calls him. No, there's like Hans or Franz, but there are two of them, right? There's I think he's Carl.
Yeah, there's another guy.
He's Dr. Pretorius' assistant, and then Frankenstein has an assistant. So there's two assistants there. So he was one of those two people as well.
Yeah.
So he's in both films. But yeah, he's an
Yeah,
actor
yeah.
that we really liked as Renfield in Dracula.
Yeah, I think he
And-
was still giving a pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I liked him in
Oh,
everything I've seen.
He's
Yeah.
like a highlight in everything that he's in. It's
Yeah.
great. We were
Yeah.
even discussing Alex and I before this about like his weird not even weird, but his tendency just to do character roles, whereas as Renfield at the beginning, he just seemed like such a normal cookie cutter
Yeah, he was
man
like he was
actor
a
of the
very good looking like
1930s.
leading
Yeah.
man.
And then he
Yeah.
just turns into this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He was like a little dandy at the beginning
Yeah.
of Dracula. It was-
Yeah, and
Oh,
I was like, I'm
wow.
curious.
And then
like,
he's a craze. Like he looks like. I personally think. Well, actually, the guy that plays Frankenstein in this kind of maybe if you mix them together, but like he gives off Anthony Perkins vibes pretty
Oh, maybe.
frequently.
Oh.
Especially as Renfield, I felt like that kind of like sweaty, like
Mhm.
wide stare, like that sort of. But I think he's kind of attractive.
yeah,
Personally.
yeah, he's a. I agree.
Hmm.
I agree.
Like as Renfield or as
Kind of the actor in general, but as
Okay.
Renfield, yes.
Or when I
but
said
in this-
Renfield, I meant as Franz.
without the hunch on his
Oh.
back, sure. I mean, like, yeah, he's a little dirty.
Fritz.
Fine.
Fritz. All the
Fritz in the
names.
first movie, and then there's a Franz in the second movie, but it's not him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could take a Fritz seriously. We'd have to change that name.
It's also just so fun seeing which actors come back, like Minnie being in Invisible Man, essentially playing the exact same
Yeah.
character, which I
The
adore.
hysterical funny lady.
Yes,
Oh, she's great. I love that she's giving.
she's
That's
in the
funny.
Invisible
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
and she's even
does the
more
exact
shrill
same
and louder,
thing.
and it's amazing.
While
sounds
we're
great.
touching on Invisible Man, I do have to say, okay, I just came from the Universal Monsters house, right? At
Oh,
Halloween
tell us
Horror Nights.
everything.
So that one had Invisible Man, Hunchback, Phantom, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in it. And Invisible Man is just as freaking funny and uselessly not scary in that house as he is in the movie. His first
Here,
appearance-
unfair lives, unfair lives.
No, dude, the first time he comes out in the house, he comes out on like this red velvet background. It's fully dark, and then the light shines right on him, and he pops out, and it's a guy in the stupid bandages, and he's got oh no, he doesn't have a knife in the scene. It's just his hands, and he goes, "My hands, your throats," and then he walks by.
Yeah, I'm quite strong. I'll throttle you.
And then you walk to make him scary. They had to make the next room like a black room where there's people with like his different outfits,
Yeah,
and they're outlined in like glow.
they're wearing like a
dark
black
stuff.
bodysuit.
And as you walk by, like you don't know which ones are mannequins and which ones are people. So somebody moves, but they had to go through all that trouble to make him frightening. And then like
Yeah.
Quasimodo's room is one room. You walk underneath an archway, like a
Does he
stone
pour
archway.
the metal on you?
It is so funny. He does have a cauldron next to him, and he like plays with it a little bit, but he's on like a jump cord, and the guy actually like jumps forward at you and falls over the edge and then bounces back.
Nice.
It's pretty
Nice.
cool. So it's like when he's but he's only in one room. So I was like, yeah, these two guys, not scary, like not scary at all. Dr. Jekyll,
They're
Mr.
there.
Hyde, and Phantom are like the complete rest of the house, and they're terrifying.
I think I heard it was mostly Phantom. Isn't it mostly?
It's
is it
mostly Phantom, and then Hyde is like I'd say like the full last third of the house. You get like 2 Invisible Man little segments, and you get the 1 Quasimodo room. But that Invisible Man, we're talking about it. It's so funny because that's literally all it is. My hands,
My
your
hands,
throat.
your throat.
And that's all he says. That's all he says. It's not.
That's
scary.
all he needs.
Were there no invisible shenanigans and fun things floating around?
Yeah, didn't
No,
Chuck
there's
Bikes at you?
There's like glowing dark in the dark room where like he looks kind of like he's floating. So, but then like you don't know which ones are real.
Oh,
and
I
so,
love
like,
that. I want to go. just want to go into that room, but not
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 the rest of the
Phantom
house.
not the
The
Phantom.
Not the one that's terrifying.
The
the-
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Phantom were both very grotesque, and there's lots of like water effects of them like hitting dead things.
And
and,
I saw video
you know.
footage of Phantom with like his face ripped off. I'm not a fan.
yeah, it's
Don't
the
like it.
nasty Phantom. It's like
Don't like it.
yeah, he's
Don't
gnarly.
want it. It's not the Claude Rains Phantom.
But anyway, yeah, that Invisible Man. I'm sorry, we were talking about how hokey and silly and all of that. But yeah,
Not
that
hokey.
lady,
It's a great movie.
It's hokey, but like that lady gives us the kind of comedy that you're really going to start moving into in movies in the 40s and 50s. Like she's showing it here with her like, whoa, and we get the fast move away scene. You know, like I like that. That's kind of like funny in this movie because it hasn't been overdone yet, and you can tell that
Yeah.
she's doing it like kind of for the first, one of the first people to be that kind of funny.
The original, the OG, the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like my understanding is that's largely just James Whale realizing, or not even realizing, but leaning into this is a thing. Let's just embrace how funny some things can be
Yeah.
within this context.
Or
And
how her man friend is with her when he goes, shut up, woman.
Yeah.
It's just it's freaking funny. The way he talks to her the whole movie. What do you want? Like, oh my God. I love it. They remind me of the old couple from Neverending Story that they meet in the little hut and they're like bickering. They bicker.
Oh,
I
vague
remember enough.
memories. Vague
Yeah.
memories. I remember liking the third one the most, but I need to revisit.
I don't know that I've ever
The third
seen
Neverending
that.
Story?
I feel like that's gonna be like Grease 2 for me here. Oh,
What? Grease 2 is a classic. Cool rider.
I've heard Grease 2 is significantly better, but like in a campier way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grease 2 has amassed its own like camp
Cult
inspired cult following. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a cool rider. And it's just, I remember there's like this whole, not mistaken, but like secret identity thing with Sandy's nerdy cousin. But then he gets a motorcycle and then he becomes like the secret motorcycle driving hero of Rydell High, but no one knows who he is.
It's too complex for Grease. Get it out of here.
Great. We love it. Anyway, anything else to say about these movies?
I don't think so. I guess I'm gonna watch Son of Frankenstein at some point, just because now I'm curious. I'm like, how do they have babies? And this happened.
I want to know if
yeah.
it's in the same.
Yeah, it's the same
canon
thing as the first one. The building burnt down. Frankenstein survived. This had
the
Now
bride's alive.
they have to go. So they pillaged men's graves, and they pillaged women's graves. Now they have to go pillage children's graves. Is it gonna be? Is it Maria? Is it Maria?
Bring back Maria.
Justice
Straight
for
back.
Maria.
Fine.
Although, teach Maria how to take care of a cat better.
Maybe they give her cat like limbs. As
Yeah, that's what she
teachers.
deserves.
God.
That's what she deserves.
Isn't that a privilege though, Matt? Isn't it a privilege to have cat limbs?
Actually, you're right. It is. She doesn't.
I
deserve
know
cat
the little
limbs.
pawn.
That poor cat. When the dad was like, "Maria, go play with the
Yeah,
kitty,"
the
poor
audio
cat's
was like I think the audio was like muted, but the cat was just like
and like its poor skin is being pulled back by this kid who doesn't,
oh,
who's like
the
never
cat's
held a
skin
cat in
is
her life.
fine.
There was clearly no
skin's fine,
animal
yeah.
wrangler on the set.
I was so happy
Yeah,
though
it
to
was.
see
It
the
was Maria.
cat
She was
run away
wrangling
into the
that.
bushes. I was like, Maria gets what she gets. The cat is safe.
Oh my
Good.
God.
Yep. Justice for the cat.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
I have
time-
one more thing
Oh, yeah.
for Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
They've like I kept saying how she was the original manic pixie dream girl.
Yes.
Archetype.
Oh my gosh. That's
What is
And
a
they
manic
created
pixie
her.
dream girl?
Alex, do you not know the trope of the manic pixie dream girl?
It's like it's the woman in a story and she has no other like background. Like her sole purpose is to like serve the guy's journey.
And
So,
she's
like-
usually
Okay, so she-
like the kooky girl who's super.
Yeah, like she's alternative or different, or
So how does she
like,
motivate the
stand out in
guy?
some way?
Like, how does
She's like she amps up his ego, like being like
Okay.
the main two ones that I think of are like 500 Days of Summer, where Zoe Deschanel is that archetype.
Okay.
And she's just like, oh my God, like I love the Smiths too. You're so cool. But like he's not, like he's just some dude. And then in The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Spotless
Mind,
Mind.
Kate Winslet
Right.
to Jim Carrey, of like, she's a very interesting woman, but her only purpose is to serve Jim Carrey's character through the entire movie.
Okay, so basically, like, so the argument is that these characters, like, were they like, if you take out their like interaction with like the guy character, then their character doesn't make sense anymore. It's not an interesting story, or like
It's like they're not a good enough supporting character.
They don't have their own storyline.
okay,
Yeah.
Like I think Ramona Flowers is the one I think of from Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, yeah, she's a good one.
Yeah.
Although like
Yeah, I
she's
guess
like
we never really know what she's doing on her own. Yeah.
Mhm.
See, those
Yeah.
are interesting because like both of those, like that's like I mean I've seen Scott Pilgrim too, but like 500 Days of Summer and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, those are more like present in my mind, and I would have considered those like just like cool
Yeah.
female characters. Like I
But like
wouldn't
if
have.
you, even if you
But I guess if
take
you break it down, you're saying like when you kind of think about it for a moment and kind of try to examine them, how do these characters exist kind of
Yeah.
separate from the male character? Then you basically come up with like they don't really exist, like they don't really
really
have
exist.
anything.
or even
Yeah.
when they're talking to somebody else in the movie, it's always about him
That okay,
serving
they're not telling their
him.
own story; they're telling like their story,
Yeah,
like how
yeah,
they
yeah.
experience this character type thing.
Yeah.
Which is
Interesting.
like, which is fine because like that is like the protagonist of the story is that person, that guy.
Yeah.
But like when you're breaking
This
it
one's literally called Bride of Frankenstein, and she's in it for
Yeah,
two,
true.
2 minutes and
You're like,
does not
she's
do
the
anything for her
OG.
own story.
Yeah,
She's the
yeah.
OG.
I want to watch those movies again with that perspective. See if I can tap.
We
into
could do
that.
Manic Pixie Dream Girl month.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I'd love to do that.
I saw a meme
Yes.
where
Any
it's
reason to
Zoe
watch Scott
Deschanel.
Pilgrim.
It's Zoe Deschanel and what's his name from 500 Days of Summer?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gordon Levitt. Yes, he's like, oh, you're listening to the Smiths too, and she's like, yeah. So what? And like she just like covers her ears, and it's the movie credits. There's no more movie after that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's like an animated, like there's probably more than one, but back in the day I would watch like there was an animated YouTube like channel that basically did that,
How It
like,
Should Have
thing.
Ended?
Yeah, How It Should Have Ended. Yeah. How It Should Have Ended YouTube channel. Yeah. They would do the same thing, like in principle.
No, there was a meme, or I don't even know if it would classify as a meme, but like a shareable Facebook post that was inverting the trope of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. They were like, what would the opposite be? Depressed demon nightmare boy. That can't exist. And then a picture of Kylo Ren.
I was gonna say hello.
Hello.
There's
Yeah.
a few of those,
Kylo Ren's
actually.
only there to fuel to
Or
Sister
how about
Ray.
the Crow?
Yes.
I mean, even though Shelley's dead in the Crow, his whole thing is based around her.
I haven't seen The Crow. I need to.
Neither have I.
Oh,
But like, I totally believe that the inverse is true in
I've
some
died,
capacity as well.
sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'll watch The Crow regardless. I don't care how useless it is.
We'll have the back-to-back month. We'll have Manic Pixie Dream Girl month and then, Depressed Demon.
Depressed Demon Nightmare Boy month.
Nightmare Boy
Yeah.
month.
I just want a T-shirt with that on it now. Depressed Demon.
Yeah, the two.
I
the
can make
two,
that
like,
happen
either
for you.
side.
I would buy that instantly, Matt.
Like,
If
you
it
could
said
say
I heart,
his Manic
I heart.
Pixie Dream Girl.
You didn't send me your
Yeah.
link, did
Oh
you, Matt?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
I
didn't
custom
send me the
made
link
that
to the
shirt
shirt.
because I was mad at you for like 4 days.
Oh, okay.
So there we go.
Oh.
Mad enough to not take my money?
Trouble
I
in
guess so.
paradise.
Oh
I see.
no.
Uh,
No,
Yes.
no, the dads can't fight.
Right? No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all
it's all
resolved.
over now.
It's all over now. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But no, it exists, and I have it ready for purchase. In fact, I might even swap that out with the other design on the store because I think your version is better. So we'll see. I did a Star Wars inspired parody that says, "May the way be with you. This is the Force, always." But Alex wanted it without always. I really just threw in always because
For Harry
one Star
Potter?
Wars fan. No, because
Oh.
one Star
no,
Wars
no.
fan that I know really hates the always in The Last Jedi when Carrie Fisher and Laura Dern, I think, when they're having the exchange, or maybe it's Laura
Oh.
Linney. It's one of the Lauras. It's like, may the Force, may the oh no, let me say it. No, I always say it. You say it. Okay, but may the Force be with you, always. Then they throw in always, and just because I know it really annoys my friend Luke, I put that on the shirt because I thought maybe it annoys other people as much as it annoys him. But I think it's better without the always. So here we are.
Yeah, I think the original is Obi-Wan saying the Force will be with you always, but
I think so. But yeah.
something like that. But anyway.
Anyway, shirts for everybody on the store soon. There we go. Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Depressed Nightmare Demon Boy. Done. It'll be in
Nice.
black and pink. It'll be great.
Yeah,
Amazing.
on the same shirt,
Exactly.
half.
Half and
Yeah.
half. Exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out how to do this game yet. I have it ready to go. So there are two options. Actually, you can decide what you want to do. We can either do Pictionary or we can do acting.
I think
What's funny?
Pictionary.
Dictionary.
Pictionary? Okay. So get your drawing utensils out and ready.
Orker. Now this is completed Pictionary. Like we're gonna draw a picture and show it because we're not gonna be able to draw while we're showing. Okay.
Exactly. So draw a picture and show it. And because this is going to be relatively easy, I'm going to play it so that you get a point if you guess first. So normally the structure is everyone writes down what their guess is and you get a point just if you're right, but these are going to be relatively easy to guess. So you will get a point for yourself if you're the first person to shout out the correct answer.
It's not so much a problem of if they're easy to guess; it's a problem if they're easy to draw.
Well,
Yeah.
it's exactly these they will be easy to draw as well.
Okay.
Well, some of them we'll see. And then if you're the person drawing, I don't know. You don't get any points. You're working. You're just
Okay.
working. Yes. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get a timer. So you're gonna have 30 seconds to draw your Pictionary.
That's not enough time.
So hold
I
on.
know,
Hold on.
that makes it even
When we
funnier.
see the picture, you want to just yell out the answer.
Yep. And then when
Okay.
they reveal it, I
Okay.
want the two people who did not draw to just yell out what their guess is, and whoever I hear first will get the point.
Okay.
And so you will be drawing classic Universal monsters.
And there's no like, is there like a charades element where it can be like sounds like synonym?
No,
all
no,
that
because you're
stuff?
just drawing. You're just
Okay,
drawing, and then
okay,
you
okay,
show the
okay.
picture.
They can't
Draw.
add on to the picture.
That would
No.
have been the acting option.
Now
Yeah.
the acting
Well, no,
option
you
would
could
have been
do-
I would have had you impersonate the monsters, and then like say funny things and the accents and sure, yeah, but no.
Yeah,
You're drawing them now. Okay, so Lisa, you get to draw first. Everyone look away who's not Lisa. I will show you your monster that you must draw.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and your time starts now. So let us know, or I'll let you know when time is out. So everyone, excited to see Lisa's drawing.
Yeah. So we're just drawing monster.
You're just drawing the monster that I tell you to
The
draw.
monster. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably relatively easy.
Well, you would think so.
Yeah, interesting to think of.
One would hope.
I mean, I guess if you
7,
don't have access to like a
6,
color palette, it can be
5,
difficult.
4, 3, 2, 1. Please show us your monster.
Dracula.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Point for Jeanette. Good job, Jeanette.
Woo!
All right, Alex, it's your turn. Everyone look away who's not Alex.
okay.
Okay, let me know when you're ready, Alex.
Sure. Okay.
Okay,
got it.
and your time starts now. We can look. Hello, folks.
Do this for Alex.
Yes. Do you know Guillermo del Toro is doing a Frankenstein movie?
I do, and the cast sounds amazing. Christoph
know.
Waltz is in it. Like, just stick Christoph
Ooh.
Waltz in it, and I'm like, sure, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
That-
I want to know who he's playing.
I would hope he's Doc. No, he's. a
I
little
think
old,
Oscar
guess, if
Isaac
they're
is the
doing a
Doctor.
young doctor. Yeah. So then, is he the guy that he was dealing with, the professor guy in the first movie? Was that the first movie?
Maybe. Oh, time. Alex, please show us your drawing.
Okay.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Jeanette wins. Well,
What?
oh, no. Nobody
Neither,
wins. Nobody
neither,
wins.
of them,
I said
neither
it.
of them said
Oh,
it.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yes,
Alright,
Jeanette
Jeanette
gets a
wins.
point. There we
Damn
go.
it.
All right.
Darn.
Jeanette, it's your turn.
Okay.
Look away if you're not Jeanette.
Okay.
Okay, we may now look. Your time starts now.
All right. See, I was
Yeah, I'm-
worried on that last picture that they might think that bolts are arms. But
Little
No,
tiny
but no, it
arms.
was very clear. You
Good.
did
Yes.
well.
The use of green, good use of color.
yeah, that's I'm
Yeah,
fortunate. I kind of was testing beforehand to make sure I could get access to the
of course.
full range, the full color
you did it.
palette.
Wow,
did it.
technology. I only have one color.
And it works so well, though. So you-
Yeah, I do make it work. Yes.
You're,
Pictionary.
it was this
Master.
total like craziest thing about being creative girl moment you just had.
Mm.
Okay,
I'm
let's
ready.
see.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. Of the
Yes!
Black Lagoon.
Oh,
Alex.
that's a good one.
was
Yes,
like,
the
Swamp
Amazonian
monster.
mermaid
eh?
man.
yeah.
Yeah, swamp monster.
Yeah.
Okay, Lisa's
Shape
turn.
of water. No.
Look
Okay,
away. You mean
Sorry.
Grinding Nemo? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, darn. Okay.
And your
okay,
time starts
okay.
now. We can look.
Okay.
Have you never heard Grinding Nemo before?
No, that's
I've never heard
first
grinding
time.
Nemo before. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
like a
that's what
gay
people were
thing?
calling Shape of Water when it came. out.
Oh,
It was
I
hilarious.
gotta rewatch that. I love that movie. Michael
Grinding
Shannon.
Nemo.
I love
Michael
it too.
Shannon is such a freaking good actor.
And oh, what's her face as the main girl? I adored her.
He's really good. And of course, Doug Jones. I mean, Doug Jones is just.
I mean, we love
haven't seen
Billy
that movie
Butcher.
yet.
I would, yeah. I'm like, and every other creature, the freaking,
Oh, yeah,
I
that
mean,
thing.
like, he's that guy too.
Time.
Oh, why didn't we hear the alarm?
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Devil with a Booty.
Yeah, that's
Devil with a booty.
It's like,
Can we see
what kind
Devil
of
with a booty again?
monstrosity
Show
is
it.
that?
Devil with the booty.
Like, it's hideous. What is that?
Oh,
Horrid
booty.
demonic creature.
Oh, no. Yeah, what is that? His hair?
That's
Oh,
fair.
poor
What's
Clausy.
there?
Depressed demon nightmare boy.
Oh,
That's
I
it.
just noticed Notre Dame in the background too.
Yeah. And
I love it. Oh my god.
It also reminded me of that, like I think it was Kim Kardashian did a photo shoot with champagne and her butt sticking out.
Oh, I love that.
Yes,
It's so funny. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Yeah, it was serving me that as well.
I don't
Okay.
think it was supposed to be funny, but it's funny.
No, but it was hilarious. Look away if you're not Alex.
Oh. All right.
All right.
See, this one's
Sorry.
tough, I think.
Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of routes you can go with this.
Why is this cooking me?
Why is it? Who's to say?
Cooking?
Cooking.
Yeah, like
Cooking?
cucking, but family friendly.
Well, then why did you say it?
We were so close to me not having to demonetize this video.
I thought
Alex.
he meant
So
cooking.
close.
I thought he meant
Uh,
cooking.
I've had to either demonetize or fully privatize every episode of this marathon.
With Alex in it?
Yes. Well, just from this marathon. But like
I love
the Dracula one is still not publicly available because of things that happened. So
What happened? I want to.
no one will ever see it. It was a joke that was in poor taste.
I don't even remember.
Do I remember this? I
You
don't
were gone,
remember.
Jeanette. It was after you left.
Oh yeah,
and
you
that's
left.
why
You left just before.
Can
it
I
went
have
off
a
the rails
private
when you
link?
were no longer here to keep us in check.
Oh.
I'll see if I can find it for you, Lisa.
What did I say?
No, it doesn't matter. Let's move on. Show us
Okay.
your drawing. Show us your drawing.
Okay.
Invisible Man.
Yes.
Damn, Jeanette, you were on fire.
I was hoping you would just show a blank screen.
That's what
some
my
glasses in the
first
middle?
went to.
Okay, it's Jeanette's turn. Look away, all.
My turn. Okay.
And time starts now.
Hmm. Yeah, what did I say?
No, don't think about it. It's
Dracula?
over. It's over.
Yeah, Vince is disappointed he couldn't find the Dracula stream.
I did. I thought you
Oh
were
yeah, see,
joking.
Vince, it's because of Alex making a lewd joke.
Oh, man.
that's
Now
what
I'm
it was.
That's what it was.
What did you
Now I'm
say?
so
It
sad.
was
I didn't even
inappropriate.
say anything, Matt.
It was the implication,
was
Alex.
it was
the-
Matt's
no,
fault.
shh, no.
Put it
Don't
in
know.
the chat. Put it in the private chat.
Oh, that's the time. That's the
Okay.
time. Let's see. Let's
I'll
see our
put it in
drawing.
the private chat.
Mummy.
Yes, Lisa gets her first point.
Yes.
Well done. All right, it's Lisa's turn now. Look away if you're not Lisa.
Okay, I'm.
Alex, do
I'm
do
looking.
the Pan's Labyrinth thing.
I was typing the story.
It's you have time later. Okay,
Well, that's true.
Oh darn. Okay.
and your time starts now. Start. Yoda from Mark is asking if it was about aliens. It was not. No. The Dracula stream though was quite good, Vince. I will make it available once I cut out the not safe for work part.
Yeah, and it was yeah.
Should just have a blooper.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, Kristen was there for that one with her vampire knowledge. It was great.
So
Yeah.
bad, guys.
Oh, that's the time.
No.
Yeah,
So
yes.
bad.
Go on.
None of you are gonna guess it.
Werewolf. The Wolfman.
Wolfman.
Yes, Wolfman.
Okay, you got it. It wasn't that bad.
I wouldn't have got it if Jeanette. I mean, not that I got it, but like I wouldn't have said Wolfman if Jeanette didn't start with a werewolf.
Werewolf.
I was like, what is that? Oh, okay. If it's werewolf, then that's the Wolfman.
It's
That was-
Alex's turn. Look away. Look away if we're not Alex.
That was the most difficult thing I've ever had to do today.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And time starts now. Please start to draw.
They're coming for you, Alex. They saw the Dracula stream.
It's
and
true.
they were like,
Okay, wait, hold on. What did you like? What was it?
Yeah, I'm typing
No,
it
no,
out.
we'll tell you when we're off air.
Yeah. No,
That's too
you
far
can
away.
react
I'm
on air.
impatient.
Oh God.
7, 6, 5,
Like,
4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
That's time. Let's see.
Okay. Hopefully you get this.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, The Nun? I don't think that's a classic Universal monster.
I started with
Alex,
the
you didn't
dress.
do the hair.
I started with the dress.
Also,
and then I tried to do the hair, but I didn't have enough space. I was
You've
like, oh,
run
fuck,
out
what
of
do I do now?
Matt, can you hold that doll up one more time, please? Can you turn it sideways for me? Let's just compare the cleavage on
The
these two
movie,
dolls.
Jeanette, the movie. All right.
She doesn't
No,
really.
She
doesn't
does
have
not have.
huge-
She's not.
uh,
Yes, she's
no, she does not have a testacular moment.
She's
in that
decently
movie.
endowed in the film. All
I
right?
will say the actress is Mary
Yes.
Shelley at the beginning is,
And that's the
but
bride-
they
that's
have
the bride.
bound. They have.
She's basically
her.
bound with bandages. Though.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up. All right, I'm going to
Okay.
pull up the image.
No!
Of this.
I think Alex already
the
has that on
picture.
his phone.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
You're good.
I think he
Don't
already
want
has
another
that.
Dracula show. Okay.
Convenient.
Next.
All right.
Which one do I want to do? Probably
Something easy, Matt.
Okay. Jeanette, it's your turn. Everyone who's
Okay.
not Jeanette, please look away. Alex. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And your time starts now. Do, 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 do.
Okay, they
Oh,
show
that's
it when she's
crazy.
wrapped up. It's not when she's like a. It's when.
It's
Oh, there it is! I found it. I found the picture.
It's just because she's wearing a tight mummy dress.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm just saying there she's got visible.
Alex
breasts.
was drawing the
That's all-
the
That's all I
anime
was saying.
version.
Visible breasts at the beginning.
That's
That's all.
not super well endowed, but okay.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
say
it's by
super
no
well
means,
endowed.
it's by no means the most
It was
iconic look for her. It's the
decently
hair. It's the Tim Burton
Yes.
hair.
They got it. All right. I just did it to signify that it was a female creature.
Okay. Okay, let's
A
see
breasted
Jeanette's.
creature. All right. The Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Yes.
Darn, he's a monster.
Yeah, that's not.
He is a
Two-Faced,
monster. The way
Two-Faced.
the way he treats Christine, the way he acts, like that's
He's
monstrous
just a
behavior.
fuckboy.
He's grooming her. And he's manipulating this poor vulnerable girl who's lost her father.
He's also just creepy and like lurking.
Is he a monster?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a monster. If Quasimodo's
he's a stalker and a voyeur and a kidnapper. So yeah. And I would say probably maybe a rapist.
Like
while she was
Quasi's- yeah.
asleep.
Ugh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, yeah, I also remember in the Gerard Butler movie when he brings her down into the catacombs or whatever, like she's wearing tights and then she faints, and then when she wakes up the next morning, the tights aren't there.
He's not wearing any tights.
So, Lisa, you get to be the last one to draw. Everyone, look away.
Okay.
And your time starts now.
All right.
What?
I
Oh, speaking of, do you remember that scene at the beginning of Dracula
yeah.
where they're looking over the fence and he goes,
And
and then then he sits there for a second and then he goes down. I was like, what's
Okay,
going
that's
on
time.
here?
Let's see.
It's this guy.
Dr. Frankenstein.
Yes. Good job, Jeanette.
Oh, how
All
fun.
right. Well, let me figure out how we're
Hmm.
going to do this bonus round. Lisa has 2, Alex has 2, and Jeanette has 6. How many points do we all want to wager?
All of them.
All of them.
Yes.
Okay. I have to think of a bonus question. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see.
You should draw something, Matt, and then we
I
all
should
get.
actually. Okay, sure,
Yeah.
sure. I'll do that.
I love it.
I have to find a piece of paper. Hold on.
What are we all being for Halloween?
Yeah, have that discussion while I get drawing utensils.
If it's an easy answer, I was Dusty from Stranger Things at Halloween Horror Nights one of the nights. So maybe I'll be
Nice.
Dusty just because it's easy and comfortable. But if I feel like wearing makeup, I'll probably
You should
just,
do
like-
Lilu.
Yeah, I'd have to cut my hair. Oh, I guess I wouldn't have to if I
You
just
don't have
No.
to. Yeah.
did this. I'm not have to like not eat for a few days and like to
just
feel
not
okay
here.
about that.
Yeah. What her like outfits in that film? None of them are like not revealing, right?
She has the shorts and the tank top. I
Yeah,
can do
that's
that.
like the most
Yeah, that's a
covered,
little
yeah.
easier than the white toilet paper
Yeah.
outfit.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
And
and
Lilu.
yeah, Lulu from Fifth Element. She has
said, "Why
like
don't
you be
some of her
Lulu?"
outfits in the movie, and she doesn't really. She has like the two outfits.
What about you, Lisa?
Vince and I are trying to go as Tony Soprano and Carmela Soprano from The Sopranos. And if that doesn't work out, we're gonna both be Kevin James because of that meme that's been going around where he's just like standing around looking with that little smirk.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be fun.
Nice.
What about
I
you,
missed,
Alex?
I missed it. What are Alex
Talking about
and Jeanette
Halloween
doing?
outfits. So
Oh, I heard that, but like, what are you and Jeanette going as for Halloween?
Well, I didn't say anything
Uh,
yet. Jeanette said
yeah,
Dusty
Alex.
from Stranger Things would be an easy.
Potentially, because I did that one. I
Yeah.
have it lying
Yeah.
around.
Nice.
I don't typically. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. Probably I've dressed up for more Halloweens than I haven't. But if I can get away with not dressing up, I won't. But I do have the costume that I wore for Fan Expo when I was cosplaying as whatchamacallem,
Homelander.
from The Boys. So
Oh,
I
oh.
may, if I'm in a situation where I need to be dressed up, I may do that.
So I've decided for the bonus round, rather than drawing, I'm going to show you my Halloween costume, and the first person to guess specifically who this character is and what movie they're from
Oh my god.
will get their points or their wager added to their score.
Okay.
So here we go. Hold on.
Oh, it's not a picture. It's like you.
No, I'm putting
It's
it on
you-
right now.
Oh, Polar Express. No.
No, it's James Franco from Oz. From
No,
Wizard,
it's
not
the
Wizard
thing.
of Oz.
It's
Return
Return
something
to Oz?
Oz. What the hell's
It looks.
the name
It
of
could
it?
be the guy from Pinocchio. It could be the guy. It could be the
That's
pirate.
the
The
monkey. That's the monkey from freaking Oz thing with James Franco. That's what that is,
Oz?
right?
No
Like,
idea.
isn't it just called Oz?
What
or
the heck was
whatever?
the name of it? The Wizard? No, not the Wizard. The Great and
The
Powerful
Great and
Oz.
Powerful Oz.
Well, Jeanette's right. It's the James Franco wizard from Oz the Great and Powerful.
Okay.
So Jeanette has 12 points.
Uh,
Alex and Lisa have 2 each. So good job, Jeanette.
Don't we have 0? each?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was nice. You get to
Okay.
keep your
Okay.
points.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're so great. You're so gracious.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
so-
We really.
I'm wearing this to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party in Magic
Oh,
Kingdom.
nice.
Yes.
Cute.
Yeah. You
Does
can't
the
see the
monkey
whole
stay
costume.
on your
but-
outfit, or
Sorry?
is there a mechanism by which the monkey stays on?
No, I have to
your
figure
outfit?
that out over the next week.
Velcro.
Like Velcro, elastic,
Just
magnet.
do safety
That's
pins.
right.
Magnet will not hold. Magnet barely holds the tiny little thing.
Yeah, if you put a
Yeah.
Velcro underneath his butt and
Yeah.
on his hand on your hat, that could work.
Yeah, see, I really like this stuffed animal, so I don't want to make a ton of alterations to him. That's my main thing.
Oh, it could just be like, like a little sticky thing.
Well, sticky actually would probably do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have
Yay.
I have like a nice black vest, pocket watch chain. I'm debating getting like green circle glasses because that's not so much from the movie, but in Wicked especially, that's become a thing in the Oz subculture for people who want to like cosplay an Emerald City character is to have green glasses because that's a thing
Yeah.
from the novel to have green glasses. So we'll see. Oh yeah, Vince got it. Woo!
Woo!
Anyway, this concludes the Universal Monster Movie Marathon because I'm going to Disney World and I'll be gone for the last 2 weeks in October.
Yay!
Woo!
Ironically, not going to the Universal Monster House.
Because too scary. And also, you know what's more scary than those monsters is how much Universal charges for a day in their park.
Is it
Or
more
for
than
a night
Disney?
at Halloween Horror Night.
Well, this is the thing with Universal. It's not that it's more than Disney. It is. Kind of.
No.
Universal for a single day is kind of the same price, if not more expensive for a single day. But if you go for multiple days, it's pretty cheap. Like that's how they get you. If you want to go for like 4 days or 5 days, it's essentially the same price as going for 1 day or like 1 or 2 days. So like they get you to try to convince you, if you're spending that money, spend more of your vacation time at their park, like spending more money on food there, on merchandise.
Yeah.
Whereas Disney's prices, like they are what they are. And like they are kind of the same. Like it costs less the longer you stay at Disney, but The last time I went, my single day at Universal solely for the 2 Harry Potter theme parks, the ticket alone was like $295.
Don't you have to pay per park?
Yeah.
Yes, that's also something that you have to.
Yeah. So no, if I were to go back to Universal, well, if I went now, which I am going now, but if I was going to go to Universal, I would probably do Universal Studios the park on its own because as we know, Alex especially, I don't like rides in theme parks so much, and Universal Studios the park is more entertainment based than like Islands of Adventure is more ride based. Plus, that's where Halloween Horror Nights is, and I'd be curious to explore some of that. But anyway, who's to say? You'll see all the videos on my channel when they land. But yay, Disney! We'll be back in November.
Yay.
I don't know what the marathon will be. I kind of want to do. We haven't done Christmas movies ever, so.
We can do
Have we really? I thought we did a Christmas Carol stuff.
We did one isolated show just talking about
One.
Christmas Carol.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess we never did a Christmas.
No,
movie
like
marathon.
yeah, last year it was because I was busy. Oh, I was doing a show, that's why. But yeah, no, I really wanted to do a Santa Claus
Christmas.
movie marathon with like different Santas, but also just Christmas movies or obscure Christmas movies. There's so many. Who knows?
I will throw in that we must, if we're doing a Christmas month or whatever, we must include Die Hard.
Yes.
No.
No.
Christmas movie.
I must include Die Hard.
That
Ho
could be
ho
the
ho.
discussion.
Fine, then I'll
motherfucker.
insist we have to include Nightmare Before Christmas. How's that?
Okay, I'm
That
fine.
is
I haven't seen that movie since I was a wee thing. So
Well,
I'm good.
actually, maybe then November can be unconventional Christmas movies.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that could be
We
fun.
could do
Totally.
Nightmare.
technically Christmas or technically not Christmas movies.
Do Nightmare Before Christmas. We could do Die Hard.
Gremlins.
Lisa, pick one.
Mean
Mean
Girls.
Girls.
Okay.
They have the whole Christmas.
That's true. You know, I
Everybody
think
write
Mean Girls
in.
Mean Girls is a year-round movie because they hit every season.
Yeah, but it's Christmas. 'Cause there's that Christmas dance.
I got PTSD about
Oh
that.
yeah, Rent
that-
is a Christmas movie.
That's true. Rent largely does take place at Christmas. I don't
Yeah.
disagree. My pick would be The Lion in Winter, which is kind of like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, but in a castle at Christmas.
That's
Okay,
intriguing.
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was a very niche statement.
It
That
was,
very
and
niche.
it's just as good as it sounds. So
That's
maybe that'll
great.
be November, unconventional Christmas movies, and then December can just be Santa. Here's Santa plus Krampus.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a conversation
Yes,
for another day.
Krampus.
Yes, I love Krampus, both the human goat creature, but also the movie. Anyway, time to say goodbye, everyone. Closing
Okay.
thoughts.
Scary.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Lisa. You can follow me on Instagram at Lisa_A_Alves. And yeah, that's me. Hopefully, you'll see me back here on Teacup for One.
Woo! Thank you, Lisa. Who's next?
Hello. I am Jeanette Tinker J. You can find me on We Like Theme Parks on Thursdays. That's when our new episodes drop on Chip and Co. Podcast Network. And you can find me here on Teacup for One. And if you want to see my adventures recently, I did go to Halloween Horror Nights, and you can find that on We Like Theme Parks as well.
Woo! Thank you, Jeanette.
Hello. That reminded me of the Seinfeld bit where they're like pretending that the girl's belly button is a mouth and they give me a little funny voice like, "Hello there, hello." Matt, come on here. You know,
Yeah.
we've been having our chats, and I think this is probably as good a time as any
Of course.
Matt, did you drop something by chance? Just
No.
on the floor, just kind of to your left. Did you drop something on the ground there? Did you want to check just to make sure? Just check on the floor. You never know what you find, right? It's like
Right.
you might like go through your rummaging through your couch, you
It's
find
true.
like $5 bill. Like, oh my god, what if there's like a $5 bill or a $20 bill?
Yeah.
Imagine, another
Right. It
I
could
don't
be
know, like piece of candy. Yeah, what?
Well,
Yeah, that's
there's a lot of
check.
stuff. There's a lot of
Let's
stuff
check
that comes
down
down there.
Let's check
right?
down there.
Right?
Yeah,
Should I look?
yeah. Go
Should I
look.
look?
Check it out,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Come on, I'll help you. We'll look
well,
together.
hold on.
We'll look together.